All right. And I've just gotten word that we are ready for our next run. It is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, any % no wonder mail by Likeanoob. Noob, take it away.
I'm Likeanoob, or you can call me Noob. I'm here with the commentating couch of Halpri to my right, your left, and Ghost Kumo.
Hello.
Howdy.
So I'm going to prime you guys right before we start because this is a very short run and this is a very jam-packed run. So you can tell that if you've played Mystery Dungeon before, I am not at the start screen. I'm actually at the character select screen. And the reason because of that is that we actually need a very specific Pokemon for this run. It really doesn't really work if we don't have anybody but Meowth.
We'll also need the names.
Yes. We will need the names very, very shortly.
Just Meowth and Squirtle for right now. Absol can wait.
Yeah, and Magnemite.
And Magnemite, yeah.
All right, I'm doing one last refresher. Give me just a second.
Yeah, of course.
It looks like, which one do you need first?
I'm going to need the partner name first, actually.
Okay.
Be Squirtle.
The Squirtle one.
Looks like the winner for the Squirtle naming incentive is Kizaroff.
I mean Kaizarin or Kaizaroff.
Kaizaroff.
Alrighty, I might need to get that spelled.
Yeah, we need the spelling.
I'll make sure it's spelled.
I remember the spelling was super cursed.
Yeah.
I'll start it over. K-I-E-Z-E-R-O-F-F.
Okay, yeah, I think I can do that.
I'd like to believe that somebody doesn't actually know about Kizaron and just put that in there with like completely butchered spelling.
What's better, that or like them intentionally putting his name wrong?
I don't know.
Anyway, enough babbling. I'm actually going to get to the run now. So I'm going to count down if everyone's ready. All right. 3, 2, 1, let's go. So if Meowth is our starter, we're going to choose Squirtle as our partner. And let me make sure I actually spelled this right. K-I-E.
I remember it. I'll make sure.
Z. Yeah, because you're
R-A-E-R.
E-R.
Yeah.
Off. Okay.
Off,
I think
yeah.
I can do that. Perfect.
There you go.
Alrighty, and I will get through why we choose these Pokemon when we get into it. But I think the important thing to talk about now is what exactly is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Maybe this is the first time you've ever seen those kind of words put together. And basically, Pokemon's pretty well known. If you're watching this marathon, you probably know what Pokemon is. But the Mystery Dungeon part is actually something that is not very common, especially here in the West.
Yeah, we're at RPG Limit Break. I'm sure some of you guys have heard of Sharon the Wanderer or games of that variants, where Echo's Last Hope. This is kind of Pokemon's take on that genre, with dungeon crawling, randomized floor layouts, and stuff like that.
Yeah, although unlike a lot of...
I do need the name.
Sorry,
go with that.
The Meowth name is Rin.
R-I-N.
Capital R-I-N.
Capital R-I-N. Thank you.
Yeah, so real quick, a lot of these games in this style are more of a roguelike style. Like you reset to level 1 after the ends of dungeons. This one you keep all of your stats throughout the game, so it has a much more Pokemon-like progression.
Yeah, and obviously when we start, we'll start at level 5 like we do in the usual Pokemon games where you get your starter and everyone's level 5. But gaining XP will be very, very different in these games versus actual Pokemon games. And let's have one of these guys talk about the dungeon aspect of this game while I do some menuing.
Yeah, so for dungeons in this game are randomized. We'll get to why I'm putting those in air quotes for now, but because this dungeon's really short, it's going to be fully randomized. The floors are generated through a procedure. Wow, you have really good with Honey Woods luck. So you just got to keep going down until you get to the bottom floor or the top floor, depending on the nature of the dungeon. There are Pokemon that will randomly spawn here and there. They, just do Pokemon things. They will try and follow you. We want to try and avoid combat.
Especially with an Execute, because Execute gives like 3 times as much experience in here as anything else, and we want to avoid experience.
Yeah, there's a lot of tight routing around stuff like experience in this run. But it is generally faster to still deal with them.
Yeah, the other things give 16 experience. I think she gave 45.
Yeah. Worth noting, so in this game you have your 4 move slots, but you also have a basic attack that you can do by just pressing the A button. If you get a KO by doing this, you get half experience.
Yeah, and A attacking is very circumstantial. Usually it's faster to just attack the things with moves. You saw me do a lot of things in that menu there. Basically what I was doing was moving stuff around with the UIs to make it more conducive to just, pattern recognition and the speedrunning stuff, moving the map around, making the game speed go fast, right? And the other things I was doing was you can actually set a specific move, one of your 4 moves. You can basically put on auto, like speed dial, basically.
Like a hotkey.
Yeah. So the hotkey is left trigger plus A, and that just allows me to save on some menuing. This game does a really good job on letting the player sit back and not have to go through 80 bajillion menus, which is definitely in RPG games that can be a very a threshold that's hard to clear sometimes.
There's a lot of skill to the menuing that thankfully there's enough shortcuts in this game that it mitigates that quite a bit. So really quick, a thing that's different about this game that actually was kind of the initial sell on this game was this was sort of the first game you could play as the Pokemon, as your protagonist, rather than a human running around and catching them.
Let me cut you off really quick here.
Yes.
Because I completely forgot about being able to name a team name, I forgot to put that in a name incentive for that, but I think it's only appropriate for us to name our team name after what we are going for today, which is the NAMI organization.
Yeah, so the basic gist of the plot, you run into your partner in the woods. So your protagonist is a silent protagonist who mostly speaks to themselves via parentheses in the text. And you were originally a human that woke up in the Pokemon world, transformed as a Pokemon. The Pokemon is done via a personality quiz at the start of the run. Because the questions in that are completely random, there's a good chance you don't get the questions you need to get specifically Meowth, which is why we actually load a restore point for marathons.
Yeah.
But a lot of the story of this game is just trying to figure out why we became a Pokemon, and then also just joining up with our new friend here to form a rescue team who go into dungeons, as the world of this game is getting a lot more dangerous. There's a lot more earthquakes and a lot more strange just happenings going on. There's a lot of text in this game. Thankfully, you don't have to mash. You can hold B the entire time.
Another very good quality of life that actually goes across all Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. Not only just this one, but all of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. Which I think that saved my love for this game, especially in a speedrun sense. Because if I had to mash through this much text, my hands would not only be destroyed, but I also don't think I would have enjoyed it that much going into the actual meat of the dungeons.
Yeah, fun fact, there is a weird quirk with the mashing where if you're holding a direction on the D-pad, the text will not advance. I'm not sure why that is, but that's the only nuance to it. Otherwise, it's just hold B and go nuts.
For sure, and I think we have a little bit of time for a donation.
Yeah, excellent. I've got a few donations here. I've got $20 from Maddie Inc. that says, here's to the first day of a great marathon. Looking forward to all the great runs. I agree. I've got $52 from Stegens with no comment. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
We've got a $20 anonymous donation. Thank you for that. And we've got a $10 donation from Firebird Lover. And the comment is Moonblaze Wolf, what is your favorite Pokemon? I feel contractually obligated to my friend Firebird to say Moltres.
Moltres is really cool.
Good choice.
Quite annoyance in this game.
Yeah. So, Ghost Kuno GK brought up air quotes randomly generated. And this is, like I said in the interview, a manipulated route. And this is actually the first dungeon we would be able to utilize this sort of, RNG manipulation to our favor. Oh, those are the stairs.
Yeah, so the manipulation, how this works is, let's just assume, let's say for an example, the floor run right now is the 1100th variant of floor 1 of Thunderwave Cave. When you quick save the game and then go back to the menu, the game actually loses that data, so it doesn't know where it left off counting. So it starts off on floor 2, 0, floor 3, 1, floor 4, 2, and it counts it from there. So this is the exact same floor 2 you will always see if you quick save on floor 1 in Thunderwave Cave.
Yeah, if you're tech savvy, you understand what caching is, it's kind of that same principle, except you don't actually have to turn off the system, it just loses it somewhere.
You do in the GBA version.
Yeah, which is why we are running actually Blue Rescue Team instead of Red Rescue Team.
A lot of reasons we're running Blue Rescue Team.
Much better music quality too.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure we'll probably get into that a lot, but the soundtrack in this game is one of the best in the franchise.
Yeah, so that was all completely known, predictable movements. All the enemies were in the exact same spots they always are in this run. They do the exact same moves and behavior. This run, past the first floor of every dungeon, is completely 100% predictable.
Yeah, and we'll utilize all sorts of cool tricks, all sorts of cool tech in order to kind of put that into our advantage, because even though when you think of manipulation, you think of, oh, I'll, start the game at this time or like this frame, and then the RNG seed will give us exactly what we want. It's not actually kind of like that in this game because you only really have one, fallback seed, right? So there's a lot of different, techniques we'll use in order to try to get a beneficial, seed that we can utilize. So you might be thinking, if you're looking at the title of this run, why does it say any percent no Wonder Mail? Why not just any percent? Well, if you play these games, you know that there is a Wonder Mail system that's basically almost like a new language that they use to determine everything, basically every mission that you do in this game. There's thematically, we're a rescue team. We're going to go rescue people. We just rescued a Magnemite there in Thunderwave Cave, the dungeon we were just in. So, those missions are actually, hard-coded based on this language. So what you could do is you could just go decode that language and then encode special, rescue missions. Yeah, rescue missions.
You literally program in the missions that you want and get the items that you need really, really early, and it just completely breaks the game.
Yeah. So, it's faster that way, obviously, but in order to kind of showcase a variety of skills and a variety of ways we can circumvent this manipulation, the No Wonder Mail actually using No Wonder Mail with that restriction actually kind of helps in that regard. So I'm looking for very specific missions here. I'm going to look for missions that I would say I need help missions. There's 3 types of missions in this game. One is really bad. We like to call them deliver missions. So basically you need to go to a floor and you need to hand an item to somebody, right? That takes, it could be a random item that's found on that in that dungeon somewhere. And we don't really like those that much because it has that moniker of needing a item, right? And sometimes we don't have that item. The second best, which I actually really wanted in this scenario, which were find me missions, which are, normal missions. You go in, you find the person, you get out. You don't need an item, but you still need to go find them inside the dungeon. And those are the second best. They're very, very safe, very reliable, but they aren't that fast because you still have to go find, a place to go and a place to go find the Pokemon.
And we do need to do, at certain points in this run, just various missions in order to advance the story, which is the main reason why we're going back to a dungeon we've already completed.
Yeah.
You did also see a sleeping enemy. There are you'll see on some dungeons there'll be a sleeping enemy. If you get within 1 square of them, that wakes them up. So you can usually run to
Did you exit the dungeon?
I did, but that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. He meant to stay in the dungeon and go up the next floor and do the next mission as well, but it happens.
I'll say I'm on Gates brain because in the third iteration of this series, Gates to Infinity, you can only do 1 mission at a time.
Gates is a great game.
It is a great game. It just has...
Our clients, I'm sure, feel better that we're taking time to cater to their specific needs rather than just, when you order DoorDash and it says completing another order nearby, I don't want that. I want my food fresh.
Yeah, and your food's cold by the time you get there.
Yeah, exactly.
The only downside of that is I do have to go through more floors of Tiny Woods, but it's pretty fast. I'm already here.
Yeah.
It is tiny for a reason.
Yeah. You joke about that, but Tiny Woods is actually probably I want to say is the worst dungeon to just be in generally, because it is very linear in its floor layouts. When I mean linear, I mean you don't have a lot of choices to go anywhere.
Yeah, there's a lot of So the way the procedural generation is usually there's a certain set number of rooms and a set kind of style of hallway that connects the various different types of rooms. There is a procedural generation aspect to it. If you play this game enough, you start to notice kind of some of the patterns of how these rooms are linked up. So we see our protagonist here. This is usually a sign that the story is advancing, is when the protagonist has a dream.
That's his connection from his human world and this world, and that's how he is getting communication through everything. And usually when he has a dream, a plot point happens. And in this plot point, we're going to get a very interesting visitor here.
Probably time for 1 donation.
Yeah, we can do 1 or 2 donations right here while we prep for a dungeon.
Absolutely. I've got a donation and just a quick reminder to everybody. So we have a $5 donation from Andromeda252 that says, I'm unbelievably excited to finally see RPG Limit Break after over 3 years and had to chip in during my favorite game series of all time. Been looking forward to this Pokemon Mystery Dungeon run since the 2020 schedule released, and very excited to finally see it. Shoutouts to the entire Pokemon Mystery
a real
Dungeon
one.
community, and put this towards naming Absol after the best PMD character. And I just want to quickly remind everybody, we were talking about the Absol naming incentive, but the Magnemite incentive is closing pretty quickly, so we're going to be closing that soon. We do have a new choice that is in the lead for that one. It is Magnami.
Probably 5 minutes when you close that.
Okay, so this is, I'm going to say it's last call. If you want to get
Once this dungeon's over, we'll close it.
Yep.
That's a good thing to do.
Yep. There you
So-
go.
So this is another one of those story rescue missions that takes us to Mount Steel. At the end of here is actually going to be the first boss of the run. So although it's
Yeah, and the cool thing about this boss is, bosses give you a lot of experience, right? Let me check real quick. Okay, that's not new news to anybody who plays RPGs. But the cool thing about this boss in particular is that he gives us so much XP that we can actually do something called an XP level skip. And what that basically means is that in this game, when you level up, you get a bunch of text, and they tell you like how many things, HP got up, stuff like that. But if you get, 2 levels up at once, it actually only shows that progression once. So if we can do that, then it actually saves, I think, roughly 10 to 15 seconds per time we can eliminate an extra level up.
If you're able to get it right now, you better be thankful to that execute.
Yeah.
That gave you like way too much experience early on for putting you in a threshold.
Yeah.
Like there's certain thresholds where we can do alternative movement to, make sure we get the double level up as consistently as possible. And it's dependent on how much EXP you walked in with, which is why Noob checked how much experience you had.
Yeah, and just like that, we're already at the boss fight. And we'll be utilizing something very specific in this boss fight. Usually, when you think about boss fights, you think about what's the best move you can use on this thing. You would think about using
Move?
You would think about using fire-type moves right on the Skarmory, but there's a very special item that's very prevalent in the early game. They're called Gravelly Rocks. And the cool thing about Gravelly Rocks is that they do not check for attack stat, do not check for defense stat. They purely check for a flat damage rate of 20. So I'm gonna
A Shedinja's worst nightmare.
I'm gonna pick up these Gravelly Rocks and I'm just gonna chuck some at the Skarmory, and just like that, he's gone. And you can see, I went from level 6 to level 8 here, and you can see that's only showcasing the level up stats only once. I'm very happy I was able to showcase that because that's pretty cool.
I love the text that happens in this coming scene here,
Yeah.
by the way. It answers a question that a lot of people have wondered for a very long time about Diglett.
Yeah, so do Diglett have feet, Calgary?
I'm not gonna answer this. I'm not getting into this.
I gotcha. All right, I think we have...
The thought is troublesome.
Yeah. I think we have a donation or two of time before...
Yeah, that's the end of the Magnemite name incentive, so we'll
Yeah.
need that soon.
Okay, while we are closing that up, I got a couple donations to read here. I got a $25 donation from Ronan Raven. Said, I meant Kizaroff, a play on Kizaron, but at least it got some chuckles. Anyways, good luck on the run. I feel like we got that.
Yeah.
But yes, that was a very, very nicely done there. We have a $100 anonymous donation with no comment. Thank you very much for that. And Verifage sends in $20 with no comment as well.
Very generous donation. We stand the anonymous no comment donations just as the same.
You get chat energy.
Yeah, one of the things to kind of mention, so we will be getting Magnemite. Unfortunately, with how early in this series this game was, there is such a thing as the friend area, which is what you would need to get in order to recruit. Recruiting's kind of slow, and the AI characters tend to be weaker than your party members anyway, but because of the burden of the friend areas, there's really not much possibility of routing in recruiting or anything.
Yeah.
Right, but if you want to see Magnemite and Absol, our other forced party member, later get some use, watch the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX speedrun.
Yeah, those
because both of
very
them get
much-
use because they're automatically added to the party, and plus that game has a lot of cool leader switching mechanics where you all split up and explore different parts of the floor. It's a really, really cool run to watch.
One mechanic that we're going to actually touch on here while we're in the main hub, our town, is an idea called linking moves together. So along with, the brokenness of being able to select any move at any point in time, you can also choose to link moves together. Basically what that allows us to do is use multiple moves during one turn, which you can imagine how broken that could be.
Yeah, there's a number of perks to linking moves together. Obviously, there's the damage aspect, but I don't know if it was in this game. I know it is at some point, but when you link together moves, you get double EXP
you get
on
more
KO,
XP
and
too.
like you.
They literally give you no other choice but to use them. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
like, well, A attacks are bad, plus they don't give you as much experience. You can use them, but, we're not going to reward you much for it.
Yeah,
And despite that, people like me casually didn't know that linking moves was a thing.
The only drawback to linking moves would be when you run out of PP on either one of them, they break.
The whole link breaks forever
yeah.
until you relink it again.
And I went to the shop to just get a couple of general things. I was actually looking for a very specific item that would have allowed me to do some tech, but I didn't get it, so that's fine. Basically, every time we are going into this main area, I'm going to be looking at this mission board. Because basically, at any point in time when we're going here, we're going to follow this up by doing more missions or having story objectives to go to. Actually, this is the cutscene area where we're actually going to get Magnemite, so it'd be helpful to have that naming convention right now.
I'm ready. It is Mag Nami.
Okay.
TE. Nami is in caps. Everything else is lowercase.
So like Magna and then Nami, or is it
I'll spell it when we get
Okay,
there, just to
that's
be
fine.
sure. But yeah.
Okay, and actually no, I think I
yeah, Mag Nami.
Okay.
That's almost perfect, but Magnemite spelled with an E.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a shame we didn't have it earlier because Magnemite is the ultimate Skarmory killer.
Yeah. So we have
AMI.
oh, AMI.
Magnami with an O would be like
And
a burger
lowercase TE.
Okay.
There you
Okay,
Yeah, you're very resourceful for just using the first part of Magnemite that was already there. I wouldn't have thought of that. I would just mash B until the name was gone and then start it over. But you just saved yourself a couple frames there.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll have a lot of jobs in this little section, and I actually, this is one of the RNG points of the run. RPG, we love our RNG. I actually did not get the amount of jobs I actually wanted for this section of the game, so I'm actually gonna have to go back to the job board and fish for some more missions, which are good, because when I was talking to you about the 3 types of missions, I didn't get any really good types of missions this first pass around. So it'll give me another opportunity to go and find those.
You did get a
missions
near
again.
mission for floor 5 of Mount Steel, but it's for a blowback orb, which you can't really guarantee he's ever going to get.
Yeah, it's like I want to say a 6% in the shop, but I do not want to run those odds in a marathon. Definitely
Yeah, for
not.
sure. That makes sense. I wouldn't have taken it either.
So these 3 boss-looking Chads, this is Alakazam's team. They kind of are like the supreme team of the rescue team, so pretty much everyone takes them seriously.
I think the lores, they are the top-rated team in
They're gold
universe.
rank, which is cute considering how far you can go in this game.
Yeah.
They're Alakazam is said to have like a 3,000 IQ or something.
Some impossible number that makes no sense, just to get the point across that he's really smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Team ACT. They're kind of like, I don't know, they kind of keep all the rescue teams in check just by, being benevolent. Just
They make sure
bulky
people
Pokemon.
are, doing things that they need to do, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back into Thunderwave Cave.
Yeah, basically Shiftry, Jumpluff was there saying my friend got stuck and your leaf blades can blow wind fast enough for the Jumpluff to get freed. And he didn't want to take it because he wasn't getting paid very much. And then Alakazam's like, no, you should take that mission. You're like the only one that can help.
Yeah.
Come on, don't be that guy.
So how jobs work in this game, which I guess I can explain now because it didn't really get explained when I was doing jobs the first time, is, Ghost Kumo talked about it a little bit before, but basically to progress the story, you need to do a certain amount of jobs at any point in time. For this specific set of the game, in order to proc the next story dungeon, I'll call it, we need to do 3 missions and then 2 missions right after it. Why it's like that? They decided to put a cutscene in between these 2 mission chunks, so that's how you split it up. And instead of actually needing to do 3 different days, you can condense them down into one time throughout the dungeon.
Did you get a near mission on the 4th?
I did.
Yeah, I missed that. Good.
So we haven't touched too heavily on the core mechanics of this game. Nothing happens until you take an action. Attacks are one action. Any square movement is action. You can move diagonally, and that only counts as one, thankfully. And you can also press and hold A/B to let
To do nothing. Let time pass.
To do nothing. It lets time pass, and NPCs move.
Yeah.
There is also a hunger mechanic, so you don't want to wait around too long. But because of how heavily manipulated this run is, it's not really much of a concern.
Yeah, hunger is a prevalent mechanic in every Mystery Dungeon game's main story, except for Gates to Infinity, which is one of the reasons that's my favorite Mystery Dungeon game to run.
You love Gates.
I love Gates.
Yeah. Usually you would, pass time to heal because every time, every turn that is passed, you heal 1 health point.
Oh, especially if there's nothing on screen besides you, like your health will just go up really quickly because it has to pass it turns and play all animations. But if no animations needs to play, then the health bar can just shoot right up.
Yeah, it happens a lot quicker. That is.
You can kind of tell when something's coming up on you because you're looking at the health bar and all of a sudden it'll go really slow.
It's very resourceful, especially for the non-manipulated category of this game. That's when you have to do a lot of health management, because the name of the game and when you don't know what's going on is to keep your options open.
Adaptability.
And to, be able to do any given action at any given point in time.
So real quick, these guys are kind of just giant jerks. They steal our mail and just.
But it's
run
still
off.
there actually. Like they really didn't steal anything.
Yeah, they didn't even do anything. They were just being menacing.
Yeah, they're like, we're gonna start a rescue.
We
team
took
to
your
try-
mail, made you look.
We're gonna start a rescue team and then use it for our plans for world domination. It's like, are we going to dominate the world by being kind of decent people?
I'd like to think that they're the little troublemaker kids on the playground that are trying to be.
Later on, I mean, there is some negativity there. They're like,
yeah,
we'll
we'll
do
get
your mission,
there.
and then we'll conscript Caterpie into our group. Yeah, we'll force membership.
I had a very rare thing just happen to me.
You didn't get a Mount Steel mission,
I
did you?
did not get a Tiny Woods mission.
Or a Tiny Woods mission.
So I guess we're really loving Tiny Woods
so we were
today.
practicing earlier a technique we're gonna do right now, where you only complete 1 mission. We had to make sure we were fresh up on it because now we have to do only 1 mission so that we can get another job board refresh.
Yeah, that's where the RNG comes in. Like I said, you can't control that mission board. Makes these rescue missions very volatile.
You said this never happened to you before, right?
Never happened to me before.
Likeanoo's been running this game since 2014-15, so if that's ever happened to you, it means it's extremely
I did
rare.
technically skip 1 opportunity to go to the job board. I guess after getting Magnemite, but very, very rare still. That's okay. It's not that big of a deal. It's just a minute or 2 at the most, especially if I have to walk back and find another mission. Yeah, I think we'll have a couple of time for donations while I do this second mission.
Yeah.
For sure. I've got quite a few donations that have come in. These are all with no comment, so I'm just going to read the name and the amount, and thank you so much, everybody. Sylvia with $20, Silliest Buns with $20, MP King 52 with $10, Phil Maddox with $20, and Manny with $25. I want to give a quick update. We've got those 2 bonus incentives that will be at the end of this run. We've got some work to do. So everybody watching out there in Twitch chat, let's go ahead and get moving on these.
I thought you were going to say they're met. I'm like, what do you mean they're met?
They're very much not met.
Okay.
We got to hustle. We got to rescue these incentives.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. That doesn't mean we should wait.
Definitely not, especially because there's 2 of them, and I know we want to see both of them. So Recruit Kekleon is currently at $110 out of $500. And the Purity Forest exhibition is currently at $215 out of $1,000.
Yeah,
So
anybody that's played this game, I want you to think about how hard you struggled with Purity Forest.
And how hard you struggled recruiting Kekleon.
Yeah, both of those things are extremely difficult tasks that we will make look kind of trivial. And I'm sure you want to see that.
For sure. It's been a long way. Getting Kekleon. What am I doing? Getting Kekleon.
Okay, go ahead. Quick save, Tiny Wits.
Yeah. To get Kekleon in the state where it's almost effortless is a big ups to all the people that have been hunting for that setup for so long. It was almost 2 years in the making. Almost.
Who was it that found this out? Mistaldi?
Mistaldi, yeah.
Yeah, that's Mistaldi. PMD content creator. Definitely one of the first big people that had a massive interest in the manipulation. Like he wrote the original all icons route, which is basically our game's 100% for all quests.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of the stuff that comes into play on stuff like that. There's like recruit 'em all runs as well that people like to do.
Yeah, that is actually we call that pain.
So these missions are good in a various amount of ways. The real good reason why these missions happen is that they give us items.
I thought it was because they gave us plot progression.
It could be both. The items are super helpful because they keep us alive, first of all. Reviver seeds are basically the revives of this game, and they proc automatically when you get killed, when you faint. Excuse me, when you faint. And those are very, they make the run work. It's basically your failsafe. So the more you get there, the better. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to actually sort through my items a little bit and make sure they're in the correct order I want them in. I throw out some of the stuff I don't want. We get given a lot of, I want to say, trash in the early game, and that is perfect amount of items that I want in my bag right now. So I talked a lot about this idea of using a lot of stuff to our advantage, and this is actually one of the good reasons why we picked Meowth over any other, starter, is his ability pickup. If you were a keen viewer, you would see that I actually utilize this a little bit in Mount Steel. But by picking up the item that I'm currently holding, you can hold up to one item in this game.
Basically, you can think about it like we mentioned earlier that floors have variants. Imagine now that those floors had an A and B side.
Yeah.
And when pickup is procced and you pick up an item, it flips to the B side version of the floor.
And those can give you a lot of beneficial layouts over their, A-part counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be used a lot in this dungeon specifically to set up a good amount of these things.
I think we'll use it later, but tactics also affect how the floor generates. Because if you have a runaway tactic on Squirtle, he's facing a different direction when the floor starts.
Yeah.
One thing we haven't really touched on too much is the core Pokemon mechanics. There is still the weakness and resistance system, although the actual modifiers are very different in this one. You'll see using a lot of not very effective moves on Pokemon that you might, if you're super hardcore into Pokemon, be wondering why is he using Scratch on a Rock type.
Yeah, you can still use normal moves on Ghost type Pokemon.
Yeah, it's like a quarter damage or something like that, but yeah, it still works. There is still the type chart. The other thing is that moves of weak power, he has Bubble on his Squirtle, and it will still be doing quite a bit of damage. The damage in this game does not follow main series Pokemon numbers.
Yeah, it favors very low power moves very often, which is really nice because they're the ones that have high power points, right? So you don't have to worry about running out of power points as often if you're smart about how you utilize your moves.
Yeah, I don't think we touched on it a little bit earlier, but it's important to keep in mind that everything Likeanoob is doing is only 100% guaranteed to work if he moves down to the exact movement every single time. He has to move down, left, right, down. It has to be exactly that, or else it risks another Pokemon showing up that we don't want to be there.
Of course,
it's fairly precise.
Yeah, of course there's some lenience to certain floors. You'll see sometimes when I go fast, you'll know that when I'm going super fast, I'll have some lenience. There's some floors that are absolutely essential for me to do 100% correctly. Like this boss fight, for instance. If I don't do this boss fight to perfect standards, it can go pretty wrong. And the reason why I say that is because, of course, it's a 3v2. It's already, not fair. But we'll actually be utilizing a mechanic here, the curse move, which is basically unchanged from the main games, in the same way where it takes health away from the person using it. So right here,
if it's a ghost type.
Yeah, sorry, I am trying to react.
I didn't turn off withdraw.
No, there's the curse.
Oh.
I'll take the seed there, that's fine. Because of that level up, here's another thing. If there's a level up that happens in a boss fight, or in any floor, it can change how that floor is interacted with. So for example, since Squirtle leveled up to level 10 there, it completely screwed up the, what I thought I needed to do there. Mm-hmm. And that's, that can be routed around to a certain extent, but of course the first floors are still random. So there's a little bit of, having to think on the fly there, which I'm glad I only lost 1 seat there and I was able to recover that pretty well. Still very scary because those things are almost completely out of your control.
There's some meaner fights.
Yeah.
I ran this game at Smash the Record 2017, and my Articuno fight did not go exactly as I wanted it to, and I had no idea why.
Yeah, later we'll fight the legendary trio birds and Articuno. Basically anything with a move that will hit both Pokemon in a double battle. We call that a room range move in this game, and those things can be scary because they have the capability of not only losing 1 Reviver Seed per attack, but 2 Reviver Seeds per attack.
Yeah, so we haven't touched super heavily on this. Most moves are 1 range, which is where you hit the thing next to you, but there are moves. You've seen Bubble. That will fire a linear projectile. I think there's like a limit of squares of like 10 or something.
It's a visible screen, basically.
Yeah, and so it'll just go in a straight line and hit anything in the way. And then there are some room-clearing ones, such as Heat Wave and Powder Snow. And as mentioned, the damage formula for moves in this game is quite different, so although you might know in main game Powder Snow is a base 40 move, whereas Heat Wave is a base 100, they are a lot closer in this game in power.
It's almost like, exponential or, the square root, like that kind of function of, it's very powerful at the front end, but as you go, it's very much a diminishing returns kind of idea in terms of base power.
So earlier I mentioned that Shifter didn't want to take a job, and then he was kind of coerced into doing so. He never came back.
That's not good.
So we're going to go take care of that. We probably have time for more donations right now.
Yeah.
That sounds great. I've got an $11 donation from Jason LaRose with the comment, Chaos. Chaos.
Chaos.
And I also just want to remind everybody, they may have missed that fun interview that you had earlier, but we have new prizes in this segment. So if you want to donate any time between now and the end of Mario and Luigi Dream Team, which is a little bit later on this evening, there's 3 Pokemon prizes that you could potentially win. We've got a set of Evolution plushes. We've got a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon metallic print. And we've got a copy of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX that are all out there for the taking if you are able to make a donation to Nami tonight. So
My favorite Mario Luigi themed prizes.
Oh, yeah.
But no, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX, most people would say it's just like a complete enhancement of this game casually. Like, it has more cinematic cutscenes. It has all the mechanics up through Gen 8. We mentioned A attacking in this game. They replaced that with when you press A and Rescue Team DX, it'll automatically choose the best move for you instead of you having to choose the move from your move list. So it made a lot of changes.
It's a lot of quality of life changes, which makes it very good in a casual setting. It removes the manipulation, though. So that's,
It's a big part of why we're not... it's a part of, I would say it's a part of why we're not doing that.
It's a
run instead of this
completely
one.
different game.
But to be fair, when you submitted this for 2020, one wasn't out yet.
It just got announced like when submissions were starting to happen.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Our first recruit.
Our first recruit of the run. Of course, you don't want to recruit anything if you can. If we could run this game without Squirtle on our backside, then I probably would have ditched Squirtle a while ago, but we kind of have to.
You can't ditch the partner in a PND.
It's almost heresy, So, I actually got really lucky on that Silent Chasm floor because usually this is one of the dungeons that can make or break runs in terms of time frames because it's very, very easy for you to get a really, really nasty layout on your first floor and basically not have it take multiple minutes to get through the floor. So I'm very, very happy that I got as good of an RNG as I got.
So we touched a little bit on the plot. Shiftry never came back. So there's supposed to be a lot more wins, but basically just kind of the story of this game is we kind of showed up at the worst possible time. A lot of just strange happenings, like the winds are completely different from the way that they normally have been.
There's just a lot of earthquakes happening, a lot of natural disasters happening.
It's making a lot of Pokemon very ticked off. Mm-hmm. So that's part of the explanation for why there's a lot of aggressive Pokemon, why a lot of the bosses happen, etc.
Yeah, and that is that whole dungeon. If you blinked, you might have missed it. And that's the beauty of the manipulation. Sometimes you just get really good setups that allow you to just go straight to the stairs.
Yeah,
You
so
don't
that's
have
how
to-
fast we can get through 9 floors, 10 floors. Purity Forest, which is one of the incentives here, is 99 floors.
Yeah.
So
Definitely a step up in difficulty.
it's a
too.
real treat to watch. That much dungeon just get completely destroyed very quickly.
So this giant bird here, this is Zapdos. Very
Hi,
angry
Zapdos.
and generally known to be one of the strongest Pokemon of the first generation. As anyone who's ever played in competitive will tell you, they hate that thing.
It's funny you say that because we have a post-game category I mentioned earlier, all icons, and it's actually not our choice of legendary bird to destroy dungeons with.
It's Articuno.
Yeah, we actually choose Articuno.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has a great speed stat, but speed, thankfully right now does not mean anything for PMD. Eventually in Super Mystery Dungeon, they decided the speed stat needs to dictate accuracy and evasion.
Yeah.
And when you start off at level 5, you have very low speed.
Makes it very interesting in the early game of those games.
Yeah.
Very interesting thing to note for those that have played this game a lot. Sometimes you get prompts of basically being able to chicken out of things, and literally almost every time that you have that option, it's actually the fastest option.
Yeah, like if you
text-wise.
keep picking the first option there, they're going to be like, oh yeah, well, can you climb 3 mountains? What about 4 mountains? What about 5 mountains? And you just say, ow, my stomach hurts, and they just give up.
Yeah, they're just like, okay, whatever. man.
Whatever. It's actually not faster in Rescue Team DX, by the way.
Really?
I think they changed the dialogue there.
Yeah. Mount Thunder is the dungeon that's coming up, and it's basically Zapdos' domain. And this is, I want to say, one of the hardest dungeons in this game. Not because of length or difficulty or anything, but because we're actually going to introduce a new idea. What is... Sorry, I'm reacting to my mission luck because it has been very bad. But anyway, like I said about Mount Thunder, we're actually introducing a new move to our arsenal in Mount Thunder, and one of my lovely commentators can mention
Oh, it's one of the
about
most
that.
broken moves in the entirety of
yes.
Pokemon.
And speaking,
Have you ever heard of... sorry, go ahead.
and speaking of hard dungeons, this is the point I think where the soundtrack really takes a step up because this dungeon theme goes pretty hard.
Oh, yeah. So, you may know the move Frustration from main series Pokemon games. It does more damage the more unhappy your Pokemon is towards you. In this game, it does more damage depending on how low your IQ is. Our team starts at the minimum IQ, and you can only increase your IQ by eating gummies. So the damage is going to be a fixed 45 for the entire game. And that's not it. In Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red and Blue Rescue Team only, you can teach the same move multiple times on your moveset, and you can link them together. So it's gonna get out of control a little bit quickly.
You can see where this is going from there. Mount Thunder is the first dungeon in the game where these TMs can start showing up. Exclusively attract or frustration and return specifically. So we're gonna actually quick save a lot of times in this dungeon, basically to make sure we get the maximum amount of frustration TMs we can. But it does require a lot of precise movement.
And like I said again, that if you do those quick saves on floor 1 and 2, that frustration TM will always be there on floor 3. Anybody can really pick up this game and do this manipulation, try it out, and try different dungeons.
Yeah, the hard part comes from the speed and the knowledge of how to adapt. But yeah, here's the second quick save, the second of 2 here. We got our first frustration, and we're gonna get our second one very quickly here. But then you're thinking, okay, Zapdos is obviously like, if you know this game, or you're thinking about, okay, there hasn't been a boss fight in a while, like where's our boss fights? Obviously we're gonna be fighting these legendary trios, but only having frustration in a like 45 damage fixed output isn't that strong in reality. But lucky for us, we actually have a solution on this floor that I'm going to go pick up right now called a link box.
Yeah, so there's 2 ways to link moves in this game, either with Gulpin in the town or through the link box. It gives you a free link usage one time, but that's still very convenient when the only alternative is outside of a dungeon.
Yeah, I'm having a little trouble here, but that's fine. Nothing that good old 90 fixed damage frustration can't solve. To put it into perspective how overpowered this setup is, the highest health of any non-boss fight, non-boss in this main series game is 120, which is a Steelix. So you can imagine the amount of Pokemon that just, will
Tremble.
Yeah, will just heal over after one of these frustration link moves stick into its side. This is another kind of complex floor, but thanks to luck, I got the stair floors.
Yeah, so you saw he's now at Mount Thunder Peak. The way this game divides a lot of its dungeons is there's kind of like a floor that you get to, and then you get to like the next set of floors. It's usually a much shorter chunk, but it's harder enemies. The music also changes and usually gets a lot more dramatic.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Bye-bye.
Yeah, so Roar just sends something back and it always does a flat
That
5
wasn't
damage.
supposed to happen.
Happy little accent. But yeah,
Probably the happiest little accent I've ever seen with quick save manipulation.
we kind of implied this a little bit in the Team Minis fight in the 2 dungeons ago, but you can also...
What are you doing? You're gonna start the fight there, you water type? And that's why we have to walk right, because at the very beginning of the game, we gave Squirtle the dedicated Traveler IQ skill, which means no matter what, if it has the option to follow us and be behind us if we've moved, it will take that option. If you have it set to let's go together, or if you have dedicated Traveler turn off, Squirtle will not feel that obligation. So that's the way to save Squirtle from that nightmarish starting position in the fight.
Yeah, because of double frustration, the boss goes down easy.
Oh yeah, and the bubble I'm sure helped too.
Yeah, there's the secondary effect of bubble is obviously slowing an opponent down, but in Mystery Dungeon, speed kind of works in a linear sense. Rather you move 1 tile a turn, or you move 2 tiles a turn if you're double speed, or you move 1 tile every 2 turns if you're half speed, and that transfers over to attacking things too. So obviously, if you can set a bubble to slow down an opponent, like a boss for this example, it basically makes it a free fight.
I think it's time for some donations though, because this is pretty much done.
Yeah.
You have some cutscenes.
Absolutely. I got a couple of donations here that I'm more than happy to read. We've got a $20 donation from Demon RHK that says donating for a chance at those sweet, sweet plushies. Also Purity Forest. And we have a $30 donation from Mizuki Bara that says, I heard we like chaos. Chaos! Chaos! So I'm going to upset the bid war and name Absol Chaos. And I can confirm that Chaos is now leading that bid war. So still a little bit of time there, but yeah, that's a close one. We've also got a pair of anonymous $20 donations with no comment, so thank you so much for those. And we have a $15 donation from Drywall with no comment as well.
Thank you, Drywall. Drywall is a member of the PMD community.
Yeah. So yeah, we will be going actually into our next dungeon, Great Canyon here, immediately after Mount Thunder. It is nice that we actually have a string of dungeons that will go into itself without needing to do missions. You can sit through all the cutscenes. This one is used to be special. Actually, I'll still say it is special because it utilizes our second instance of utilizing orbs. You've seen me, take items off and get items through pickup, and a lot of the times those have been, these weird things that are labeled orb and have a little circle at the front of them. Those orbs actually are very useful to us because they can do anything from warping a Pokemon away from us to paralyzing an entire room to all sorts of different things. And in this dungeon, we will be utilizing that to get out of a really tough situation.
Also, this dungeon has one of the best themes in the entire game.
It's just like 4 dungeons that all have really good themes back to back pretty much. So kind of the story context here is we're seeking out.
I think it's actually, how many dungeons are in this game again? Like 18 dungeons in a row that have really good themes.
There's not many misses.
Not Tiny Woods.
And none of them miss.
Not many misses. That definitely.
Well, Tiny
sounds
Woods is just bad because you hear it all the time.
Fair.
Tiny Woods is really cool for the music nerd because it's very atonal and very, all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely does its job of feeling very disorienting to the person listening to it.
So the story's...
Sorry, this is the floor where the item he bought would have helped. He was looking for a warp seed in the store, and eating warp seed on the first turn of that floor would have just put him right at the stairs.
So we are basically here to seek out the Great Xatu, the kind of majestic-looking bird Pokemon from Gen 2.
And we're gonna tickle him.
We're gonna tickle him.
We will tickle it. My favorite part of the run.
It's
a
a
very-
noted meme for good luck in this run.
We definitely need good luck to see my mission luck.
It's been really bad.
It's been kind of mediocre at best, to be honest. But yeah, this 11th floor coming up has been very infamous. Because there's you'll see when I get into the room in question, it has a lot of Pokemon in here. But
We used to do a strat where we like ran around in circles in that first loop that was like right above the hallway we walked into.
Yeah.
And then like after a couple loops, they're gone.
Yeah.
That floor took a long time to solve.
But that's it. You know, bless Secure account. He's done a lot of routing for this game. I think he was one of the masters in getting that. It's either him or Shady.
Yeah, Secure account kind of came out of nowhere in PMD. You know, posting good times almost immediately. But you know, we learned eventually. Now he's legit. Now he's like a top 11, top 15 runner in Celeste out of like the thousands of people that have done runs of that game. So he's just a talented god gamer.
Here it is. Here it is. We're about to tickle him.
What do we do? Tickle?
Yeah, let's tickle him.
Yeah.
You want to tickle him?
If we can't get a rise out of him this way, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't know, man. If we attack him, I think
It's
he'll
like
just,
the
go
guards
off
right
cliff.
outside of Buckingham Palace. How they're supposed to just stand there and look and never move. People like take off their hats and stuff and just do stuff with them. Like that level of intense stoicness.
Wait. He's breaking.
He broke.
He broke.
Let's go Kaiser off.
Is he just dense? I love that line.
Yeah, definitely a highlight in the writing department here, or at least in my experience of this game. So basically, Zatu's just gonna tell us, you know, there's this urban legend that I think might be very applicable to this scenario that we're in. Go talk to Whiscash about it, and then that'll launch into a bunch of cutscene related things. So I think we have a couple more.
A lot of cutscenes coming up.
A
If you have
couple
any
more
donations.
opportunities for donations if we have any more.
Absolutely. Well, we've got another $20 donation. This donation comes to us from Mellow Yellow, and the comment is time for more chaos.
Stranger in Paradise isn't till Friday. Y'all are popping off already.
The funny thing, they call somebody we're just gonna ditch immediately.
Yeah.
Between the
No,
chaos.
it'll be chaos if he brings them accidentally,
That
which
would
is a
be
very
chaos.
real
Yeah,
possibility.
very realistic possibility. We'll get to, we're hinting at a lot of things here, but there is a Absol that we'll eventually meet, and the optimal thing is to just send him home as soon as we get him.
But it's you can just not do it and forget about it.
It's very easy to forget about it.
No. We still have more time for donations.
It's in space.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I'm getting so many chaos donations, and
Read them.
I've been reading them. I think it'd be fun to get some silly tickling donations too. Just saying, we can tickle this donation total a little bit. I do want to quickly show some love for our community artists, Carrie Fry, who designed the RPG Limit Break logo, and Mega Weasel and It's Casa, who are responsible for some of the emotes that you gain access to by subscribing to the channel. You in Twitch chat. All revenue from subs and the ads that we run will go to help us run future RPG Limit Break marathons. Fret not, 100% of all your donations do go straight to Nami. So let's keep those donations coming.
He had an orange gummy earlier.
Do I still have it? I thought I did.
He threw it away.
Okay.
And I do have another $20 donation from Zoya with no comment. Thank you very much.
So there's going to be like an old tale of folklore here where Whiscash tells us there is a Pokemon named Ninetales, and anyone who pulls its tail is said to basically curse the world, and that the person who does this was originally a human, which, given that the protagonist
look
is
good.
it doesn't look good for us.
And then the dream we get in a little bit, it just makes things look really not good.
Yeah, so he mentions a Pokemon by the name of Gardevoir, as like the legend goes that he betrayed Gardevoir, the one who did this, and that would throw the balance out of whack.
Sorry, there's a bid for Absol to be named Bidoof. And I think that needs a lot more momentum.
Are we blaming the end of the world on Bidoof now too?
Maybe?
I wasn't sure if that was the intended segue there, or you just want to dump
I
on
want
Bidoof.
it to be Bidoof so badly. I pull out my phone to donate too.
We love Bidoof. We love PMD2, Derpy Bidoof.
Yep.
Bidoof's a good guy. He doesn't do anything wrong.
I saw that out of the corner of my eye. I saw like 4 options that had money. I'm like, nobody's talking about Bidoof right now.
Needs to be front page right now.
So we're going to go into a dream here, and we've been having these dreams where this shady figure appears, but this is the first time we actually see who the shady figure is, and
wow.
and that's Gardevoir.
And the reception gets cut off so inconveniently here in the conversation.
And it really doesn't make us look good.
I am here.
Yeah.
So you see that, and then you just hear that a human's responsible for everything wrong in the world, and what are you supposed to think?
Yeah.
Well, let's not jump. Well, the idea is you don't jump to conclusions, but there's some bad things that are going to happen. I think a lot of people, when they first played this game, this was kind of the scene that like the next few scenes were kind of the scenes that really I think started to separate PMD for people from the rest of the series, because there is a lot of text in this game, but like the way that they handle the story in PMD is a lot different from the rest of the Pokemon games, which this was released in Gen 3 era. They hadn't yet done Diamond and Pearl. So, like, the closest thing to a plot in Pokemon was 2 teams that really don't like land and water.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, a very big jump up. Actually, I think I could be wrong here, but I believe that your first ability to see Mime Jr., Lucario, and Munchlax
It's all in this game, yeah.
were all in these games.
In terms of a video game medium, because I know that Lucario and the Mystery Mew came out during Gen 3. But yeah, the first appearance of Lucario, Mime Jr., and Munchlax are all in this game in a video game.
So there's that cool aspect to it. It kind of straddles the line between Gen 3 and Gen 4, maybe a little bit. It was at the tail end of Gen 3.
So Gengar was basically been following this whole time, and he's basically divulging Whiscash's story.
He's up to date on the lore.
He's up to date on the lore, and he tells the secret that we were secretly the
But
human.
it's lore that was extremely telephoned. Like when you're playing the game telephone, and one person whispers into one ear, and then they whisper it, and eventually, like, where we ended up is what Gengar is saying.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, he completely
It's just
is...
so out of context.
He's also completely operating because he's a jerk, and he wants us gone.
Oh, he has an agenda for sure.
But yeah, he's like, this is the dude. What do you have to say for yourself?
And we're like, we saw the dream, we heard the story, what are we supposed to think? ... I guess?
He basically outright tells everyone that Meowth, the protagonist here, should not exist. You are a danger to the world here.
Yeah, they say get rid of, but it's very clear what they mean. This is kind of dark as a child.
And it's
Oh,
definitely not right in any context.
Yeah, so all of the villagers start attacking us and we run off.
Hey, and you've made friends with these people in a casual playthrough. Like, you know them. Like, they have personalities and stuff, and, you know? Thought they were your friends.
And the reason you don't say anything is just, as much as your friend wants to stick up for you, you just don't
You feel
know.
indefensible.
Yeah.
But basically now we're like, okay, we're not going to give up, even though everyone dislikes us and maybe some of us don't want us to exist. We need to rally together, and we need to...
Oh, and we're fighting Team ACT right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Casual fighting. All right.
They basically threaten to take us off here, but we are afforded one final chance, which is, if you can find anything that would prove your innocence, go for it.
They secretly know, but they can't, from a political, perspective, they can't risk their reputation for sticking up for us. They can't do that. Their image will just be shattered.
Yeah, Alakazam probably knows to some extent. I don't know by how much.
Yeah, doesn't know.
If he doesn't know with his 5,000 IQ, then I want to know what the testing's like.
If he can't be certain, like, the consequences are serious enough in his opinion. And so we have our one friend here who believes in us the whole way. Let's go,
We couldn't have had anybody else.
Don't talk crap about Caterpie.
He has no arms. How is he supposed to help us? He can spit silk, actually.
Yeah,
he helps us do that later.
That'll be very
Look,
good.
this isn't GDQ. We can't talk about his knees, okay?
Oh my god.
All right. So I'm actually going to do a couple things before I set off. We call this segment we're about to come up with fugitive segment, because we're fugitives.
Oh, you need the mission still,
I do
right?
need the mission. Yeah, that's where.
Oh,
I'm
the
going.
best part about this scene is that all the shopkeepers are asleep,
Yeah.
but they still transact in their sleep.
Yeah.
They talk to this snore. What do you want?
Capitalism
pretty
waits
good.
for nothing.
I can't believe I'm getting this unlucky. That's okay.
It's alright. It'll pop up.
We will push on. But yeah, like I'll show you here. They're like, oh, I'm still sleeping, but I can still sell you stuff.
It's impressive considering Kecleons are kind of the true the true hardest thing in these series.
Yeah.
Yeah, which you could see if you donate to the Recruit Kecleon incentive.
For sure.
And then here one of the best themes in the series starts to play.
I think this is personally my favorite scene from a the gameplay perspective of the thematic perspective, because everyone that you've helped to now shows up and is like, we believe in you, we believe you can go and find the truth, we'll send you off.
I should probably have time for some donations.
Maybe one or two. Yeah.
Oh, I've got a very important donation here from French Toast, who donates $100 with the comment, be doof, be doof, be doof, be doof, be doof. And Bidoof is back in the lead
Let's go,
for the bid war. But not by too much, so we can keep getting those donations in if you want to flip the script and maybe choose chaos.
Come on, Bidoof believers.
We also have a $14 donation from Best Vigar FL with the comment, yup, yup.
That's cute.
My impact.
Yeah, I like how even Pelipper just writes us a letter and just tells us he believes in us.
Yeah. Very, very nice. You feel very invigorated going out knowing that you have people behind you.
You got the mailman on your side, you're invincible.
You feel like it, man. All right, now finally, after a decent amount of cutscene, we'll get into our. It's basically a back-to-back.
This is the longest dungeon in the game so far, but it is by far the easiest, manipulation or not. It is so incredibly easy and unthreatening.
Yeah, Ghost Kumo talked about how generation happens a little bit in the very beginning of this run, and basically this dungeon was designed to be very long, but also very few rooms,
That's
few
the scariest
corridors.
Pokemon in here, by the way.
That is. And
Nincada. It has Fury Swipes. And unfortunately in this category, we don't get to see how broken multi-hit moves really are. But just imagine taking a tackle 5 times in a row.
Yeah, multi-hit moves, they don't scale beyond power the way they do in the main game. Now, some of you might have wondered if we picked Meowth for that. That actually isn't why, but in the no save and quit category for this game, one of the mons you use instead of Meowth is Skitty, who does get a multi-hit move.
Skitty in a vacuum is the most broken Pokemon in the game.
Yeah. Meowth learns Fury Swipes at level 22 in this game, which you are not level 22 when you finish the main story.
Skitty gets double slap at level 15, and we would be level 15 in Great Canyon approximately.
Yeah, in a non-manipulated run.
Yeah, the reason we're so low level is because we're just skipping a lot, because we know exactly where the stairs are, so that just leads to less encounters.
Yeah.
Because less turns are passing.
Halpery mentioned tactic ideas earlier, and we're going to utilize this here, where we changed Squirtle's tactic to get away. That gives us, another, line of things to test to see if it's faster. And in this case, setting Squirtle's tactics this way for a while was optimal for time. But yeah, well, you can see that, we're spawning next to the stairs a lot. These floors are very small, which.
That's it.
That's it for Lapis Cave. But lucky for us, this future segment is kind of defined by not really much downtime between things. Our longest amount of downtime will be after, when we meet Absol, basically, which is in a couple of dungeons for now.
Yeah, we're basically almost, I guess, literally caught between a rock and a hard place. We're being pursued by pretty much everyone in town. Alakazam, afforded us that opportunity to escape. But we kind of have to traverse a literal volcano or, go back and face certain death.
Yeah. I will have an opportunity here to move my items around a lot here. This is one of the better places to do that.
Yeah, it's the Kangaskhan Rock.
Yeah, we have a thing called a Kangaskhan Rock here, which is basically... Kangaskhan in this game acts as your storage device. You can only hold 20 items at a time.
Even when she's frozen.
So...
If they can transact in their sleep.
Yeah.
They can transact when they've been petrified.
I don't know, have you seen where it goes in Explorers? Kangaskhan statues are quite something.
Yeah. They're doing well with their business. Their business is booming.
Yeah.
They've franchised tremendously.
Yeah. So I put some items away that I didn't need that I'm not going to need for the rest of the dungeon or the rest of the game, basically. Yeah, and
First floors are still scary. These
Yeah.
are not scripted.
you can see where this game gets a little hairy, especially we're getting towards the mid and end game. We're about halfway through the run at this point, and first floors are going to get scarier and scarier because we're going to get more underleveled and underleveled as we go about the game. This dungeon's very straightforward. There's a couple of basic text that we've showcased before, but it's a lot of just moving around optimally, knowing where the stairs are, going in and out as fast as you can.
Yeah, I think this is the first dungeon where moving optimally is going to start to become very, very, very important.
Yeah.
Because these things will kill you. Like that Pidgeot did like 45 with just like a quick attack. And quick attack is a 2-tile move.
Yeah. It's really hard to work around quick attacks because of their 2-tile range. It's the 1-tile range.
So, you see the background of this area, there's a bunch of lava. There are some elemental panels like water and lava, which the only Pokemon that can stand to those are, water and fire.
Yeah, we saw that
types,
earlier in Mount Thunder Peak when Squirtle got roared. It walked back to us through the water.
Yeah.
There's also like tiles where there's just like a void underneath. So any Pokemon with like a flight ability, so like flying types, and then I don't know. There are ones that like normally have levitate in the base games. I don't think they had abilities yet for PMD in this one.
Yeah,
okay.
Cute Charm is an ability for Skitty.
pickup.
And then Pickup, yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah, and then Ghost types can just walk through walls.
Yeah.
Ghost types can go on any terrain, basically.
But yeah, so there is some that can levitate. But yeah, the point in levitate, you can pretty much traverse just about everything. So
Yeah,
it's kind of a
PMD
shame.
is actually weird. I don't know about this game, but in Explorers of Sky, Pokemon actually can have 2 abilities. If they have abilities 1 or 2 in the main series Pokemon games, PMD gives them both.
Yeah, they still give them both in this game too.
Yeah, so I mean, Skitty has in Gen 4 Cute Charm and Normalize as possible abilities, so it gets both.
In PMD 2 it does.
Yeah.
I don't think it had normalized in Gen 3, which is why I didn't get it in this game.
Yeah, probably.
The fact that the birds are the starters always upset me because one of my favorite starters to use when I was a kid with this game was Cubone, and Cubone gets wrecked by the bosses in this game.
Yeah,
Cubone was actually the Pokemon of choice for like the oldest task of this game,
Yeah.
so it can be done. It's
That
just
almost
not,
sounds like a Tasser pet pick to me.
Yeah.
it's not pretty, but it can be done.
So right here, I'm actually turning off the linked moves of my partner because, he doesn't have frustration yet. He's not really doing much. He's not going to be doing much to this boss fight. At this point in the game, if I were to use any sort of non-frustration attack on this boss, it'll be
Like
dealing
1, 2.
Yeah, not be doing that much damage. So it's faster just to tell him to, sit out for a little bit and chill out. And that's how we get through Moltres.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
There's actually a lot of cutscenes right now.
Yeah, it doesn't help that like when you do an attack on Moltres, you see that little animation of like the little red streaks going down. That is Moltres' ability Pressure, which causes you to use twice as much PP. It doesn't come into play in the route so much for like PP routing, but the extra animation.
Oh, it comes into play in Sky Tower
Yes.
because there are Pokemon,
Yes.
just general Pokemon that have it, and the game gives you a warning when you are, I think, 1 or 2 turns away from having your linked moves run out of PP. Sometimes you can just not get that, or just only get 1 warning because you get dropped by 2.
Yeah. It does tell you when you get down to 2, but if you get down to 2 and you are autopiling it a little bit, it's really easy to de-link boost when you don't really want to. Yeah. Thankfully for us, the manipulation kind of routes around a lot of those Pokemon.
Yeah. Also, Pressure just is a time-consuming animation, so you don't want to lose like 2 extra seconds every time your ally attacks to do no damage.
Back in the day before Frustration was implemented into this route, we would use Squirtle as more of a using Tail Whip to lower the defenses, so stuff would do more damage. But even like now, that doesn't even matter because Frustration goes around defense and attacks stats. So we opt just to have him, stick around with us and not really do much, not get in the way.
Yeah, but like I said, there's a lot of cutscenes here before the next dungeon, so we can probably read some more donations.
Time for maybe 1 or 2 more.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've got a couple donations here. I've got $5 from Rainbow Otter with no comment, and I've got $20 from Genesic Gunleon, also with no comment. Thank you very much for those donations.
Both of those were for Bidoof, right?
That's a name I haven't heard in quite some
I just want
time.
to make sure they're on the right side of history here.
I can confirm Bidoof is still winning, but I
Let's
believe
go.
we are getting close to the time when you're going to be
We
needing that
are.
name, right?
are.
Yeah, after this next dungeon.
Yeah, I'll let
Okay.
you know when to probably close it there.
Yep, you heard him, chat. Chaos or Bidoof. It's your choice.
So you can see how much we've gone through in this little fugitive segment. We went from, the fiery depths of this volcano, and now we're in the middle of a snowy wasteland. You saw Absol right there. You can tell how close we are.
I look like a Bidoof to me. Just maybe I missed something.
I like this remix of the Runaway theme as well.
Definitely the music is one of the drawing factors for me to get into this game speedrunning wise in the first place.
One thing I don't think that gets enough credit is like the pixel art in this game is really good.
Oh, yeah.
They really one-upped it in Explorers. Like the pixel art in that is some of the best in the DS. And then the remake of this game uses like this really stylized art style, which I was personally really fond of when I first saw it.
I was talking about hard dungeons in terms of execution, and this is one of the harder dungeons in execution too. And you can kind of see where the hard portions of it
Yeah,
comes
this
into play.
dungeon is so hard with execution. He's actually gonna have to mash at one point.
Oh my gosh, mashing? What is mashing? I've never sped run a game that requires me to mash before.
Yeah, there's like a little cutscene in the middle of the dungeon that you can't hold B through. You have to press buttons to get through the text. So there will be some mashing in this Pokemon Mystery Dungeon speedrun. Very, very rare.
The other thing is that there is a frustration TM that I do need to pick up and utilize, which is why I'm quick saving right here, for instance. But definitely the second half of this run will showcase that sometimes the floors are really nice to you, and in the sense of you have a lot of movement leniency. You can mess up a little bit, go fast, and be okay for the most part. Like here, you can see that. But there's some dungeons that are just floors that are absolutely essential for me to do 100% correctly. And these next couple, floor 6, floor 7, are definitely under that latter category. This is the mashing part, by the way. I have to mash through this.
Good work. No arrows I saw.
Yep.
Yeah, you can tell whether you're mashing well or not because like the game will give you like an arrow like, all right, we're done. You can move on to the next text box now. Though we didn't see any of those because he was mashing so on point actually.
So Ditto in these dungeons, you'll see they actually transform into a random Pokemon within the dungeon rather than one of your party members.
It's a cool thing for Transform. It gives Transform a very cool use.
Makes it matter.
Yeah.
But the problem with Ditto in this game is that once it's transformed, it only knows struggle.
Yeah, it does not
It doesn't
know-
copy movesets.
It does not copy movesets, which is unfortunate.
So if you get struggled when you just started a floor, you'll know what did it. Actually, Likeanoob actually taught over 2 moves at once there.
Yeah.
When you teach over a move that's part of a link, for some reason it actually chooses to get rid of both moves instead of giving you a choice between one or the other.
Which checks out, to be honest. But that's really nice for us.
Really good floor.
Really good floor. That was nice for us because sometimes it allows us to skip having to delete a move when teaching another move. For example, I'm learning Water Gun soon because Squirtle's level 13 level up move is Water Gun. And because... sorry, I need to do this little... another Warp Orb usage.
Orbs tend to be very powerful, but as a caveat, they usually don't work very well with bosses.
Yeah. Orbs just don't work at all on bosses in this game.
Yeah, in Gates of Infinity and Super Mystery Dungeon, and I think Rescue Team DX as well, you can use orbs on bosses, but in this game and Spores of Sky, a mysterious use prevents its power.
Yeah, so you can still use seeds, but seeds tend to have a much more limited effect.
Also, now's a good time to close that Absol
Yeah,
donation
that would be a great time to close it now.
and hope that the needle lands on Bidoof.
We're totally unbiased, by the way, guys.
No bias at all.
No bias at all.
This is the objective right decision.
So I talked about this boss a little bit before, but this is a scary boss even in a casual playthrough, but also in a non-manipulated run of this game because
No, last time I did this on stage, it was a very scary boss in a manipulated run too.
because it is Articuno has agility, which is terrifying because
Doubles your speed.
doubles your attack usage, and it also has powder snow, which we talked about before. Hits both of me and my partner. And at this level, the ability for us to just get one shot is very, very high.
And when you die here, you go back to the little midway room between Frosty Forest and Frosty Forest Peak. Yeah, we're gonna need that Absol name very soon.
Take the Absol name. The anticipation's killing me.
I know.
But anyway, basically, Articuno, it's a story update for the ones at home. Articuno is like ready for round 2. Ready, he got like.
I'm not. No, thank you.
He got defeated the first time, and he's ready to go again. And I'm not sure we'll be lucky this time.
Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
It's Bidoof.
Let's go! Let's go, Bidoof.
We did it.
Thank you, everyone, for your donations.
So it feels a lot better to
definite.
leave Bidoof behind.
Is that your headcanon? You feel better leaving Bidoof behind?
Yes, God, yes. I can't explain how we're leaving that.
For context, in the second iteration of this series, there's a fugitive-like segment, basically timed in the same sense, but our third partner Bidoof cannot get sent home, and he cannot.
He tries his best, but his best is worse than my worst. He has like this PP Saver IQ skill, which sounds great, but all it does is prevent him from helping at all. He uses Defense Curl, he uses Growl, he growls and wakes up sleeping enemies, and it's like, why did you do that? We could have just walked right by them.
Yeah,
And you're stuck with him for 2 dungeons.
You're basically babysitting somebody, which
You're
is
babysitting
another
Bidoof, yeah.
reason why we try to limit how many Pokemon we take into dungeons, especially in this game. The AI for partner Pokemon is very finicky. It works best with a pair.
Right, and in this
basically.
game, even if you were to take Absol, you can turn off his Item Master IQ skill that prevents him from consuming Reviver Seeds automatically. You can't turn that off for Bidoof.
Yeah.
In Explorers of Time, Darkness, and Sky.
You can't interact with the Bidoof at all. That's the context of why we're so happy that we can name this Absol Bidoof and then promptly leave it off.
Feels very good. Yeah, more Gardevoir moments. But nobody else can see Gardevoir except for us. It's kind of like our spirit animal, if you will.
Yeah. Like our guide, our sensei.
Yeah.
What animal is Gardevoir supposed to be? Sound off in the donation. Put those donations toward those.
I don't know if I want to read those donations.
I want to read those donations.
No, you
Go
don't.
for it. We have some time.
You can read these ones.
All right. Well, we do have a couple donations here. We have a $20 donation from SSA Dallas that says, "Can never not donate for plushies or a good cause." Well, in this case, you donated for both, so good job there. We also have a $20 donation from Sa Cool that says, "Gotta get some of those Poke prizes." And yeah, there's prizes. There's 3 Pokemon prizes that are up for winning right now throughout this run and into the next few runs as well. I want to give everybody an update on the bonus incentives for this run because, let's be honest, we're all enjoying this run. It is fantastic. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's pretty. The Pokemon are all cute and adorable. You want more of it, right? I know I do. So
Yeah.
let's get those 2 bonus incentives met, and let's get more Pokemon tonight on day 1 of RPG Limit Break. We are currently at $195 out of $500 for Recruit Kecleon, and we are currently at $311 out of $1,000 for the Purity Forest exhibition. Those are both going to be post-game incentives. We got about an hour, let's just say, to meet those. Let's do it, chat. I know you all have it in you. Let's get that push through here. Everybody, let's get those donations in for Nami and more Pokemon.
I know we can do it, guys. But yeah, this is more or less the same kind of base manipulation going to the stairs. There's not too much fun, flashy stuff in this dungeon, unfortunately. There is a couple of really cool things to me, which is I'm gonna get some more Reviver Seeds soon. This dungeon and the peak of Frosty Grotto, the place we were just at, are the only places in this game, in the main game, that can give us reviver seeds off the ground.
Don't forget to send Bidoof home at the halfway point,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. Make sure Bidoof doesn't. Yeah.
Ruin things.
But that's helpful to me and helpful to a lot of people. A lot of people running these games just to have those extra reviver seeds.
Yeah, the Noob's got like almost a full page right now, and there's a world where he needs that entire page.
There's
plus more.
There's definitely some scary sections in this run that are still like partially out of my control that I would need those reviver seeds for.
When I say a page, the treasure bag or the toolbox is separated. You know, you can scroll page by page by page because obviously it can't fit every item on screen. So when I say a page, I mean, oh, thank God, I was about to remind you again. When I say a page, literally one of the many pages in the toolbox is almost full of reviver seeds right now. And we may need all of them because this game does get very hard because we are drastically underleveled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember seeing a clip of somebody posting, and this was in Rescue Team DX, of the dungeon that you do, I think 2 from now, in the story, of just first floor, something just hit magnitude 10 and just double kill.
Oh, that's definitely a thing that can happen too. Especially if I screw up some sort of movement somewhere, I can definitely get into a situation where that's plausible. Which that's
we're done.
Definitely not fun. Yeah, that's Mount Freeze. So we've gone through all this fugitive segment stuff. We're at the peak. We're about to meet Ninetales.
And they caught up to us.
They caught up to us.
Time's up.
So now time to like fade into like an epic boss fight.
So
right?
for the Team ACT battle, we're gonna need to just hold out for a little bit longer and hope Ninetales shows up.
Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario, honestly.
They have an Alakazam, a Charizard, and a Tyranitar. We have a Bidoof. We don't stand a chance.
The ironic thing is that base stats actually work very, very differently in
Do
this
not
game
defend Bidoof.
versus.
No, Bidoof's not great. It's the protag and partner.
Yeah,
They have
so-
like giga buff stats relative to their
Basically, every starter and partner in this game have a lot of like buffed stats. Based
Yeah,
on
because they have
the
to
game.
keep up with Articunos, Zapdoses, and Moltres. Like they have to
Yeah.
make them work and be functional characters.
It's actually funny if you look through the code of this game where they give you the actual values at like levels like 0 to 30 or whatever. Your base Pokemon actually have a higher stat total than their evolved counterparts.
Yeah, Explorers Guy, they're actually the exact same
Yeah.
stats. And like the starters have actually like top 10 percentile stats like during those levels that you mentioned. So
Yeah, so effectively what's happening in the story here is Ninetales is kind of telling everyone the truth here, that the human-turned Pokemon is not the cause of the calamities in the first place, and that it really has nothing to do with your protagonist. So basically Gengar was kind of just full of crap.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll go back to the town, right, and see if they believe us, right? I think that's our play.
I mean, we do have like some of the strongest bodyguards. So.
Yeah.
yeah, they're just gonna
And Bidoof.
come into the thread and say vouch.
Can't forget about Bidoof. On God.
I forgot he's in this cutscene. Even though he did nothing.
He doesn't
As
even say
usual.
anything after like the intro cut.
This is actually the most helpful Bidoof of all time.
I think so.
Yeah, because every other one has been such a negative detriment.
Oh, and you're doing a lot of slander to Bidoof right now. I don't think I can take this.
I'm doing accurate reporting on Bidoof.
Can I sneak in with a quick
Yeah, of course.
relevant
Absolutely. Yeah.
donation here?
Of
All
course.
right, great. We've got a $20 donation from Mechalink with the comment, Bidoof, Bidoof, Bidoof.
Bidoof.
Oh, wait. I'm being a slow bro. Thank you very much for that donation. Let's keep them coming, y'all.
We have time for a little bit more.
Yeah, we have a couple more.
This cutscene's kind of long.
This is like a 3-minute cutscene.
Okay, well, I definitely want to take a moment and remind everybody what you're going to be donating for and why we're here this whole week at RPG Limit Break. We are here supporting NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization, whose work is focused around 3 pillars: education and support, awareness, and advocacy. What does that mean? Well, for education and support, via their 48 state offices and nearly 700 affiliates, NAMI offers a host of signature programs, presentations, and support groups that are available free of charge. This includes a national helpline that can provide information, resources, and a compassionate, understanding, trained volunteer to support anyone who calls in.
So basically, we had to get Pelipper to come help us because, Gengar and these people in this town was not buying. We're not buying
A Pelipper vouch is powerful.
They were not buying our story. Even, they're like,
When you're the only source of information in this town, the only journalist,
Yeah,
you,
I mean,
you
that's
have
how
a
you,
lot of power.
that's how you know this game was dated 2005. Still
Yeah.
used written mail.
yeah. For sure. Yeah, finally we are back home. Night, good to be home. And guess what time is it, guys?
Time
It's
for jobs.
mission time.
Do we even have all our missions
We
yet?
do. We don't have our Tiny Woods missions, but we'll be fine.
Well, Tiny Woods is the last area we need to go to. The
Yeah.
mission sequence for the remainder of the game is 3, 4, 2. 3 missions will be done in Thunderwave Cave. 4 missions will be done in Mount Steel. And the last 2 missions will be done in hopefully Tiny Woods.
Well, that's to be determined.
To be determined.
Yeah, so if you're wondering why he's built up so many Mount Steel missions that he has not done yet, that is why.
And if you're wondering why he only has 3, we're actually gonna, I don't know if it's today, but within the next couple of days, there's gonna be a Floor 3 Mount Steel mission job in our mailbox, which is normally inaccessible without Wonder Mail.
Pelipper actually just dropped it off.
Is that it?
Yeah, that was it. It's very good. It's within our path anyway. It just happened, for him to drop that off for us. And the reason why I was so prompted to picking up the jobs before was because the more mission or the more dungeons that get added to the pool of possible dungeons for missions to get given to, the less likely that you'll get those low dungeon numbers. Our Mount Steels, our Thunderwave Caves, our Tiny Woods, which are easier to do mission-wise than everything else. Yeah, the really cool thing about this actually is that you'll have basically the same layout as you can remember from an hour ago. This looks exactly the same to last time we were in it. Oh, I did it again.
You want me to play?
Absolutely not.
No, he did that on purpose because we do need to check the job board to get that Tiny Woods mission because we still don't have it yet.
Sure.
No, actually, me playing would be a disaster. I notably have not PB'd in this game in 5 years.
But yeah, we did. The more times we can go to that mission board, the better. To be honest, even the amount of time it takes to go here and back through the town all the way will still be there. You go. Finally,
Told you.
will be a net positive over trying to attempt 2 missions in, let's say, a Sinister Woods or a Silent Chasm, which are closer to the mid game than the early game.
We could have gone to Tiny Woods, but it would have been a little bit of a gamble.
I mean, it wouldn't have changed anything. I would have just gone to Thunderwave Cave for the 2 missions later.
Yeah.
In a casual sense, a lot of these really early game dungeons are kind of crap for your rank, but we don't really care about that for the speed.
We would actually
There's
prefer-
one game we care about the rank in when it comes to missions, and that's Gates to Infinity. Because Gates to Infinity, when you rank up, you have access to quicker missions, and you have access to a bigger treasure bag.
Has anyone actually figured out a tech skip for that one? Because I feel like Gates would probably be just an all-around cool speed game just in general, if not for how slow the text
It's
is.
a chill run. I treat it like a day at work. I clock in. It's an 8-hour run.
And 4 hours of them are holding the button.
Or not. You can use one of these things right here, the little clips.
Yeah.
For anyone who can't see, we have these
Little clamps that are
Clamps.
holding the tablecloth here. I see this and I see a way to hold B in PMD.
Yeah, that's also another nice thing about PMD speedrunning is that you do have these, decently long sections of downtime where
We have spreadsheets where people have documented how long you can hold the B button in a continuous segment.
So we keep referencing Gates, so we'll reference Gates again. In Gates, there's a 10-minute cutscene. You can make food in 10 minutes.
And then there's an 11-minute cutscene after that.
Yeah, so then you can go eat your food.
This is still the same sequence. It's separated by a couple inputs.
So it's overall a very I like to call it a very chill speed game.
I'm just having flashbacks to the Final Fantasy X shower.
For sure.
Which the cutscene-less version of that will be later in this marathon.
Ooh, that sounds fun. It's always nice to see a cutscene-less version of games get showcased. We actually have a very back in the day, we had a very nice modder that helped us figure out a cutscene-less ROM for our second game, Pokemon Explorers of Sky, and that allowed us for more accessibility on practice.
You mentioned Gates to Infinity. People came out with codes that either speed up the text or get rid of it entirely. So you're just watching animations and cutscenes.
Yeah.
So those alternatives do exist. We have a category extension for textless gates,
which I think
which is like 4 hours.
Yeah. Which I think is definitely way more accessible than the 9-hour, usual fest. Even in this game actually is the only game I think that doesn't have a patch like that.
Doesn't need one.
I mean, the gameplay to cutscene ratio is very, very nice here, as opposed to the other series.
Yeah, this game has not a lot of main story, but has a lot of post game.
Yeah.
And then Explorers of Sky, Explorers of Time Darkness Sky, the game's sequel, has a much longer main story, but not quite as much to do in the post game. So they kind of just changed up the ratio a little bit.
Yeah.
That's very good post-game chapters, though. That's for sure.
Oh, for sure.
Especially Explorers of Sky.
Oh yeah, it's a much better narrative, I think. This game. I mean, this game, they had no idea if this was gonna succeed or not. They just pumped out a game.
They tested the waters, and I think there's a lot of scenes in this game that really stuck with a lot of Pokemon fans for many years. And then you go into Explorers of Sky, and the fan base around those games is quite possibly the most devoted of any Pokemon game. And considering how big this series, that is sick.
Yeah. So basically, these two, I'm gonna call them knuckleheads. These two knuckleheads came to us and said, "We want Mankeys to be stopped. These Mankeys are causing a ruckus, and they're here. Can you go fight them?" And we're like, "Okay."
So basically, we're hired guns. We're hitmen.
Sure.
To eliminate Mankey from the Uproar Forest region.
A cool little fact
for modest pay.
Yeah.
A singular chestnut. Sorry, go ahead.
A cool little factoid about this dungeon is that it is theorized that this was designed to be optional. Because if you look at the list of dungeons inside, selecting dungeons in your home screen, this actually goes below all of the main game dungeons.
Yeah, it also uses, I believe, the same dungeon theme as Lapis Cave.
Well, that's crazy, because in the no Wonder Mill, no quick save version of this game, there's a RNG thing that can save you or lose you 3+ minutes, and I really wish this dungeon was optional for that reason.
Yeah, so the gimmick about this dungeon is that, as we'll see very soon, we need to go collect an item called a chestnut.
Two of them.
Yeah, specifically 2 of them, yes. And the only places where those chestnuts happen will be on the last floor of this dungeon. Oh, I totally forgot that this is what happens here. Anyway, but and it's completely random how many chestnuts are on a floor at a given time.
Random, quote unquote.
Yeah, obviously, when I say random, I can manipulate it as long as it's not on the first floor of the dungeon. So it's actually kind of cool what we do to manipulate a chestnut into our inventory. I'm actually going to do a little bit of inventory management right here.
You need an orange bear for a mission. I hope you do.
Yeah, I have an extra one.
Hi, Chet. So, the thing with the chestnuts is, once we murder these Mankey, their ghosts. I'm not even gonna keep the bit up. So once you beat the Mankeys, they want a chestnut as this, and then they'll help rebuild our base, make it bigger and fancier. But you have to keep paying them in chestnuts.
Yeah, so you may have missed it. You may have thought we only grabbed one chestnut, but Pickup pulls an item from the item table and gives it to you in your inventory. You can see it on the top screen, if the top screen is visible, I can't remember.
Yeah,
our character's holding a chestnut because the only item on the item table on that floor is chestnut.
Yeah, so
Pickup picks up one chestnut.
Yeah, Pickup procs there, it's going to be a chestnut.
So basically, picking up the chestnuts keeps us from having to come back into this dungeon over and over to get more.
Yeah, which is really nice. obviously we would have quick saved 9 times here if we had to get 2 chestnuts on our 10th floor, but it's nice that it works out this way where only one quick save
pro
gives it to
gamers
us.
gamble and just no quick save the dungeon. Hope for
yeah,
double
for
chestnut.
Sure. Yeah, double chestnut is a thing, especially in the non-manipulated categories of this game.
Yeah, sometimes you can get no chestnuts also.
The barrier. Sometimes great runs just die for you having to go through upper force 3 different times.
Yeah. No quick save, no wonder mail is definitely the most popular category in this game, because it requires like the least amount of like I want to say execution and like practicable skill. Like it relies more on like game knowledge and adaptation.
You can hop into a no manipulation category of this game and get your time and be like, okay, I know I can improve this and I can do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, you get better times from no quick save, no wonder mail from being better at the game. And, reacting to situations better, especially monster houses, which we don't run into in any capacity in this speedrun.
We kind of breezed through it, but upper force was the first place we could actually get.
Yeah, you can get one on floor 1.
Yeah, a thing called monster houses, which are basically you walk into the room. Oh no, the room's now full of enemies.
Yeah, you can kind of tell when a monster house is going to spawn because generally they have a lot of items in them.
Yeah. But of course, it's hard to tell what items are in there sometimes. Sometimes you walk into a room and you're like, oh,
if you see a TM and a gummy, turn around and go the other way.
Thankful for us that I think the first floor there is the only time in this entire run where we can hit a monster house.
I think you can hit a monster house on Sky Tower floor 1.
Maybe, I don't know.
Let's
Anyway,
hope it's not there.
Yeah, it's very, very rare. So that's fine.
Yeah, like 90% of the 90+% of the floors from now on are manipulated. So the odds are indeed very, very low to get it.
So like it was mentioned earlier, here's our main key. They helped us like a third of the way there, and now they want more chestnuts. So I think while we feed them a couple of chestnuts, we have a couple of minutes for some donations.
Absolutely, yeah. I got some donations here at the ready. We've got a $20 donation from Steven with no comment. We've got a $5 donation from Toku Hero, also with no comment. And we have a $50 anonymous donation. And then we have a $20 donation from Jetboy the Mage that says, when I married my wife, we asked that people consider donating to Nami in lieu of a gift. The folks who did all had wonderful experiences, with one person leaving a note on a card saying, I'm a Nami person too. Keep up the good fight and good luck to the runners. I just want to let everybody know too, just as a quick update, we are currently at $285 out of $500 for the Recruit Kecleon incentive. That one is over halfway met, so let's really push and let's get that one met right away. I also want to remind everybody, by the way, this is our first RPG limit break in 3.5 years. You might have forgotten how to do this whole thing. Make sure that when you make your donation, you assign an incentive at the end, at the bottom of the page when you're making that donation, so that it goes to all of this awesome, cool stuff that our runners have graciously agreed to show off for you all. So let's keep it up. We're almost there.
Very, very cool story to hear about the donations to Nami, for sure. And now look at our base.
Oh, the best part, well, that's probably a thing from the entire game, but at one point we considered Machop to be the most optimal Pokemon for this route, and Machop's mailbox has a bicep that is like flexing.
It's
great.
Funny. It's not like the mouth tail. It's just a literal like.
It's a little arm that's like
bicep.
sprouting out of it. It's just flexing.
Yeah. We thought Machop was optimal at some points because of XP curves. Our idea of understanding XP curves made us believe that Machop would level up the slowest.
But yeah, now we know it's like Meowth and Charmander.
Yeah, it's like
Trico.
Yeah, the Mankey are kind of chaotic here.
For sure, they want their chestnuts, man. They need their chestnuts. So we're going into our heaviest point of.
You don't have an orange
missions.
gummy.
I know I don't have an orange gummy. There's five missions in there.
That's too many.
And
Carry on.
even though I have 5 missions accepted, if I do 4 of the 5, it'll still proc the new presents, which is all I really am going for here.
But what you're saying is that we're going to end the run and there's going to be people you've agreed to help. You're not going to be helping.
You see that?
No way. No shot. You just found an two orange gummies right next to each other.
You know what that's called? It's called skill.
It's certainly
Skill
a skill. This is the difference. This is the reason I'm not running the game.
So yeah, the doing 4 missions here gets a little chaotic because they are. That's not supposed to happen. That's crazy.
I didn't think you waited long enough.
No, I picked up an item.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it was the Bidoof clone.
It was.
Well, your other item was the chestnut, right?
No, I just didn't have item. It
Oh.
procced. That's fine though. Not that big of a deal. Like I said, it's not a big deal though. That's fine. We will freestyle this a little bit.
The most annoying part of this game, like when you're not playing it manipulated, is like the client's just kind of running around, and when you're trying to catch him, it's like, I'm trying to help you.
Yeah.
Just
so
sit still.
those clients can be very finicky sometimes. That's,
Let's go Squirtle.
let's go Squirtle. Alrighty. Anyway, Pidgey's getting rescued. That's 1 of 4.
Yeah, we can leave early now after the third one because
We
we got a magic orange gummy.
We completely glossed over the idea of why near missions, or what we call near missions, are so good. It's because you don't actually have to go to that floor. So I have a...
As long as you have the item in your inventory when you leave the dungeon, the game will consider that mission complete. Yeah. It'll take the item out of your inventory.
So the stairs are right there, but obviously I need to go rescue somebody. I picked up an item on floor 4 specifically, so this Voltorb would be exactly where he is. If I did not pick up my item there, he would be literally at the end of a linear path, which gets very annoying.
And then after this mission, we can leave.
Which is a godsend, because the post movement to get to the stairs from here is incredibly finicky, so I can opt to just leave right now.
Yeah, and it also makes up for the issues we had with, not having missions, accidentally leaving too early. That definitely made up for it.
Yeah. From a time perspective, that's very good. So we're getting kind of close to the end. We actually only have 2 main dungeons left, but there's still a decent amount of, I'd say, cutscene we have to go through to get here.
Yeah, so if you have any donations that are helping us reach our goals here.
Yeah, and if we got some cutscenes coming up, that's going to be great time to read some more donations too. But I got one here. I've got $20 from LLK that says, I want that Kecleon incentive met. Also Purity
That's
Forest.
crazy, so do I.
Donate to the incentives and tell me your favorite Pokemon, everyone. I agree with that sentiment. Mine is Alolan Executor.
Good choice. I like that choice. For sure. I have to be impartial to say my favorite would be Goomy, the basic dragon from Gen 6. He's just such a good boy.
I will join you in the Slug Alliance. My favorite is Gastrodon.
Oh yeah.
I like Fortress. He's a round fella.
He's a round fella who spins and boom.
Yep. All buddies here. So basically what these cutscenes are going to convey to us is that we believe that these earthquakes are being caused by the legendary Pokemon Groudon. And Team ACT, the Alakazam Charizard Tyranitar team, went down to try to confront Groudon, and they have not come back. So now we're trying to scramble and figure out, okay,
Because the rescue team's not coming back has always been great news.
Yeah, who's going down to try to rescue the rescue team, right? Who's going to try to break that chain? And unfortunately for us, it is not our time yet.
Yeah, Lombre is gonna be like, no, don't pipe up. You're too weak. I know you just survived being fugitives, and you've obviously proven your strength, but no. For the sole purpose of delaying this game and adding more padding, filler, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lombre.
We have some good Pokemon coming down now. We have Blastoise, the water type. We have Octillery, the water type. I think we're assembling a good team.
Yeah, 2 water types. I think team comp's looking all right.
Yeah.
And a Golem.
Golem, ground type. Hit those rocks that are obviously going to rock and fire types down there.
Yeah.
I don't see a world where this team will fail.
True. Yeah, maybe we'll just get to go right to Sky Tower.
That'd be epic.
I like how there's just all these weak Pokemon and fire weak ones, and they're just all right on there, just please don't pick me.
Please, it's not my time yet.
Right on with sweat and bullets until Golem volunteered.
So anyway, because we can't go right now, we have to go do some tiny missions.
And we have to leave that 7F Mountain Steel fella hanging.
Yeah.
Never getting his DoorDash order.
unfortunate for that guy.
Hate it when your drivers just complete another order nearby and they just forget about you.
Hey, maybe he got paid, he got the money he needed. He was like, okay, I'm not working.
You got the bag.
I got the bag.
This is getting a little too personal.
I promise I'm not projecting.
Yeah, let's go with that. But yeah, like I was saying before, these missions, especially in Tiny Woods, can be so volatile because
How are you having trouble here? You're an entire shell gone.
I've seen worse before. I've seen like Magmars down there in Tiny Woods. You know, it's always funny to see like the Charizard and the Magmar in Tiny Woods. And, like, guys, I need help.
There's like a meme about like, this place is scary, Charizard. And Charizard's just sitting there curled up in a ball with a wheel next to it or something.
Always very humorous. But now, hopefully now Lombre won't be next to us. Maybe today is the day to go down and mine the cavern.
Yeah, Pipluff's been sitting back there without a mic like this entire time. Probably had some input. He just hasn't been able to share it.
Post commentary? Anybody post any posts for the Pipluff?
We can ask Pipluff for his thoughts after.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we have a couple more donation opportunities.
More cutscenes, yeah.
Sounds great. I've got another $25 from Mellow Yellow with the comment, had to get a second donation in for the Kecleon incentive. I agree. Let's get that met. And I also just want to remind everybody, we have some Pokemon prizes that are available right now if you donate. We've got a set of Pokemon Evolution plushes for a $20 minimum donation. We've got a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon metallic print that is offered up at a $15 minimum donation. And we have a copy of the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX game, I believe, on the Switch for a $10 minimum donation. And don't forget, those are all just for this block. So between now and the end of Mario and Luigi Dream Team later on this evening. But if you also donate over the course of the entire week, and it's only day one, but you know, why wait, is what I would say. If you put in $100 of cumulative donations, you have an opportunity to win our grand prize for the marathon, which is a PlayStation 5 with a copy of FF7 Remake and Tales of Arise. So, you know, donate some money to a good cause, maybe win an awesome prize right now and all throughout the week. Let's do it.
At least they came back.
Yeah, I guess even though they failed, they came back.
Like Shift didn't come back, ACT didn't come back. At least these guys had the you know, the respect for us and our time to get destroyed and like hobble back to town square. Yeah. And then just like fall flat on the ground here.
Yeah, all these prizes that are being given out this week are so amazing.
Oh, never mind, they're fine.
If I was not doing this run, I definitely would be donating for those Evolution plushies, because those sitting next to those and looking at those made me realize how cute they all were. So that's definitely a good donation incentive.
Yeah, I'd
for
like
you
to
guys.
just point the audience's attention to the boss Pokemon we have fought so far and how tough and how dangerous they've been and how dangerous they're going to get. Kecleon is stronger than all of them
Combined.
and we're going to stop that man in his tracks and recruit him.
Yeah.
Somehow. So even if you've never played Mystery Dungeon, he moves at double speed. He recruits all his Kecleon friends. Every turn, multiple Kecleons spawn on the floor, and there's like an army of Kecleons coming to us, and we have to stop them.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, the way they basically work is they'll spawn randomly in dungeon floors and, you know, lay out a map, and they'll say, hey, buy my wares. And you take them, and he will then ask you to pay. You don't have to.
It's a suggestion.
It's a suggestion, but it is a very compelling one because the alternative is almost certain death.
Ah, so you've chosen death.
You've chosen death.
If you try to run away, they start spawning at an alarmingly large.
And like I said, they
rate.
move at double speed. So
Yeah,
good luck running away from them unless you have like 3 quick seeds.
Or a skateboard.
Or a pure seed. Or no, pure seeds aren't in this.
Yeah, even then, it's really hard. It gets easier in the later games, like you said with pure
There-
seeds.
Yeah, you can steal from Kecleon, but few people have ever lived to tell the story.
And we only need another $190 to unlock that. So that's just a couple donations away, y'all. We got this.
We got little around 20 minutes left to get that in, so get those donations. So the story context here, obviously they keep sending waves of tough rescue teams that fail. So, naturally our Meowth and Squirtle are just going to pull this off.
Oh, yeah.
We,
Naturally.
we have the type advantage.
But basically,
We do, but so did the Octillery and the Blastoise and the Golem with the
I
ground
guess
type.
You make a very compelling point.
also banging track here, which is a much faster accelerated version of the Mount Freeze theme. But yeah, this is
I never noticed that.
Me neither. What the heck? We ran the game for like 6+ years, by the way.
I've been running this game for 8 years.
Yeah, 8 years, 7 years.
But yeah, so essentially they believe that the most likely culprit behind all the earthquakes and natural
He really is
disasters
just going to gloss over that, huh?
is a Groudon deep beneath the surface, which is the Gen 3 box legendary, the continent Pokemon that creates the land.
Groudon is like the least threatening part about this dungeon.
It really is.
Yeah, very true. What Hulk was mumbling to me earlier is I got a very good floor one, and he was like, "You're not gonna say anything about that?"
No, it's not about. He's just going to gloss over the fact that he just ruined our minds with this knowledge that this is Mount Freeze.
That's true too. But you'll see me quick simming a lot here. This is mostly for safety. I can obviously opt to not do any of these quick saves, but just a safer environment.
He did a practice run earlier in the practice room, and he gambled once with skipping a quick save, and he lost harder than I've ever seen anybody else lose on a gamble in Pokemon
spawned
Mystery
into a
Dungeon.
floor next to like 4 different
He was
enemies.
surrounded, and it did not go well. So after that, I think we just collectively decided no more gambling.
Yeah. Yeah, this dungeon will be the last dungeon we will be picking up and modifying our movesets in any capacity. We will be picking up our 4th frustration for good old Squirtle. And then we'll also have a very interesting item being given to us. And I will touch upon that when we get there in about 10 floors. But it will basically revolutionize how we go about going through these floors. But right now I have to get past the small wall.
Yeah, for anyone who played this game as a kid, you know that the last dungeon of the run, last dungeon of this game, is very difficult. There's a lot that can go wrong, and even this is true in a speed run. But the last, with this manipulation, the last dungeon is going to be quite possibly the most mind-blowing of all the stuff we've done in the run so far.
So like I'm casually picking up frustration. Yeah, sure, let's go with that. And I will use it right now on my good old pal Squirtle. And usually how TMs work in this game is you use it once and then you get a used TM, which then you could recycle for ultimate TM usage. But it's faster in this game for me just to try to use it again. If you use a used TM, try to say that 3 times fast, it'll just disappear. That's good for item management, specifically for us right now.
Where it goes, nobody knows. The matter cannot be created nor destroyed, so I don't know where these used TMs are going or where they think they're going.
Time for the reveal. If you weren't paying attention, I picked up a thing called a warp scarf. What this does is at random intervals, I will just warp. And of course, if it's random, we can figure out how to do it. So this gets a lot more crazy, but also a lot more punishing.
Yeah, this is where perfect movement's going to matter the most, because one wrong misstep could have you warping somewhere else completely different on the floor. And you're abandoning Squirtle, who's not well equipped.
He's kind of well equipped now because he has double frustration, but still, it's hard. It's still definitely very hard. And just like that.
And just like that, we've made it to the hardest floor in the game.
Yeah. So we'd mentioned before that floor 1s are not able to be manipulated at all. And we'll see here, this is the whole floor. This is the whole dungeon. This one floor is this entire pit before we fight inevitably Groudon at the end of this. So we picked up a Luminous Orb earlier, like in Sinister Woods kind of early. And this is just the best time for us to utilize that orb. The Luminous Orb shows us basically where the stairs are and how to get to the stairs. And you can path very easily by yourself how to get to it.
So it's like having quick save, where you know where the stairs are.
Almost.
But not quite. But there's still scary onyxes and steelixes everywhere. We have time for a donation. This is pretty much a long cutscene before Groudon.
Absolutely. I've got a $3 donation from Jason LaRose that says lowercase c chaos. Maybe a $3 disorganized mob. Not as cool as a train, but doesn't cost as much. Do I have time for one more?
Yeah.
All right. We've got a $20 donation from Heaven's Last that says, this is now a DoorDash employee-sponsored run. Cackle.
I mean, they're contractors, so.
Yeah. You will notice that I did not quick save on that floor 1. Technically, I could quick save on floor 1 and have a perfectly manipulated Groudon fight. But you saw how many reviver seeds I had on my list. It's usually better to just go with what the fight gives you. Usually Groudon only has 1 or 2 abilities to hit you. And sometimes he just completely whiffs with an A attack like that. So from a net perspective, it's just better to hedge your bets like this. Because the manipulated section requires you to do some sort of movement. But yeah, that's Groudon down.
One dungeon to go.
One dungeon to go.
Oh, that's where they went.
They magically appeared out of nowhere. Where do you think they were? Space. We need to go to
I
space.
second that opinion.
I mean, that's pretty much where we're going next.
Spoilers, man. But
Not
yeah,
quite, not quite.
We will get as close to space as we can get. One of my friends said one time, it's not a video game unless you attempt to fight God or go to space. And, we get really close to almost both of those.
Especially, the fighting god part is a very common staple in RPGs.
Yeah, this is like the final time I'll be able to have any sort of ability to check.
I think Reviver Seed went to storage.
Check the storage. Yeah, I'll definitely go to storage and look at what's in my storage.
Why stop at one page when you can have 2 pages?
Yeah, of course. So I definitely want to spend some time here and prep, because this last dungeon is definitely it is the difficulty spike in your casual playthroughs. Magma Cavern, the place we were just in, was hard to some degree. There were some Pokemon there that could take multiple seeds at once with a double kick or a magnitude 10. But there's PMD1, especially this first game, has a lot of mechanics that are just very unpolished, right?
Yeah.
And Sky Tower is kind of the Sky Tower, the last dungeon we're going to go to,
It's a culmination of everything wrong with this game.
a very good culmination of a lot of the things that can go wrong, and very unbalanced sets. Off the top of my head, there's Pokemon with agility, which agility in this game affects everyone in the floor.
Everybody on your team.
Yeah, so if an enemy's in a room with 3 other Pokemon and they use agility,
They have a common enemy in the room, therefore they're teammates.
yeah, all 4 of them will get the agility boost, which could quickly turn into a nightmare. A lot of Pokemon have multi-hit moves.
In my case, probably one of my most popular Twitch clips is I was standing on the stairs of the final floor, and an Aerodactyl used Ancient Power on me and killed me, and got the Ancient Power boost.
Yeah. So,
and
yeah,
ended up
there's-
using something that killed both of us.
Yeah, so Aerodactyl can do the Omni boost with Ancient Power.
Might have been Venomoth. I don't know. Might have been Venomoth Silverwind, actually.
And then along with that, there's also Venomoth Silverwind, which, along with the fact that Silverwind hits everyone in the room, it also can Omni boost and boost all of your stats at once. Which, one Omni boost turns a Pokemon that, is not that frightening into something that is ASAP on your list and need to deal with right now.
Yeah, we have a couple cutscenes until we get into Sky Tower, so there's a little bit of time for donations.
Yeah.
I've got a couple new donations here. Absolutely, yep. We've got a $20 donation from FirePrince96 with no comment. And we've got a $20 donation from the Stradivarian with the comment, I never played this but Rescue DX and loved it. It's neat to see this run, and the warp logic manipulation is quite neat to see. Good luck, and here's hoping for those amazing looking plushies.
Yeah, those Evolution Plusies are honestly the best. I was sitting down waiting for the interview with Keys, and he was like, "Can I just give you $200 now and just give them to me now?" to put into perspective how much
Towards Kecleon.
how coveted those items are.
Speaking of which, we're running out of time for the Kecleon and the Purity Forest incentive. Let's say Kecleon is the end of this run. Let's say the Purity Forest is by the end of Kecleon if Kecleon is met, just to maximize our time to reach those goals.
Yeah, let's go incrementally.
We are so close on that Recruit Kecleon incentive now. We're now at $410 out
Oh,
of
that is
500.
so close. That is free.
We're so close, Twitch chat. Let's go ahead and get there. We got another $100 donation that just came in from Hermit Code Monkey with no comment, but thank you so much for that generous donation.
If everybody in Twitch chat donated 10 cents, you wouldn't be able to do that because I think the minimum donation is $1. But still, it's the thought
If
that
1 in
counts.
10 of you donated $1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this whole scene's kind of a lot of a prelude to the end. Groudon was not responsible for the natural disasters, and we do see a meteor is coming to hit the planet. We need to stop that, go to Sky Tower, fight Rayquaza, who is the one that can basically set things right. We go to bed for the night before we set off to Sky Tower, and Gengar tries to Dream Eater us.
Yeah, both instances, before Magma Cavern and before Sky Tower, you're told, this is the last chance you're going to have. Are you ready? And you say, yeah, and you still have a chance to do stuff after you say yes to both of those instances. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so Zatu here shows us the way to get to Sky Tower, which is obviously a dungeon
this thing
in
is
the sky.
called the plot hole filling device.
Teleport.
'Cause,
Right? Yeah, the teleport. Yeah.
This thing is really poorly explained. It's like, trust me.
Power of
It
Psychic.
actually just says, dude, trust me, just written on it.
Yeah, it's hinted that like these two big psychic beings could like create this teleport gem.
And then
like,
some ghost Pokemon
yeah, and
help
some,
them.
you know-
we've only met like one ghost
yeah,
Pokemon
like,
the entire run.
ghost
Like, who
Pokemon
else could it
that
be?
relevant?
Yeah, and then of course, Gardevoir talks about how after we've solved this problem, we can return to our home world. But yeah,
Thank
I am
God,
pretty
Pokemon
sure
are
anyone
annoying.
anyone who is familiar with any game in this series knows how the endings of these games go.
Oh yeah. Basically, it's the same ending across all the games.
The game's a little bit quiet in my headset. Can I get that turned up a little bit? This is the best. This is one of the best songs in the game.
This
Best
is one of
songs
the
in the
best
series.
songs in the
By far.
franchise, if you ask me.
And
I
it-
love the Rescue Team DX version because they keep like the chiptune bit, but they up the instrument quality. Big shout outs to Arata Iyoshi, who did the composition for the first two games.
Matter of fact, I think the game's a little bit too quiet for the chat as well. Just if we can get the stream volume turned up.
Yeah. Sadly, he didn't get brought on since Gates, although his...
Oh, Gates still has a fantastic soundtrack.
Yeah, his protege, Keisuke Ito, who still does, he did the arrangements for Rescue Team DX and did kind of like the lead for Gates and Super. Fantastic work. I was surprised to see that Arata Yoshi actually dropped like an album like last year. This was a name I hadn't heard since 2009, and he's still making music, even if it's not for PMD.
Yeah, it's very surprising that you do Gates because like Gates is actually my favorite soundtrack from
Oh,
PMD.
Gates that isn't.
I'm surprised it didn't come from the person that's just been putting out banger after banger after banger.
I mean, Keisuke Ito is fantastic too. So anyone who's played like I the Somnium Files, he did the soundtrack for those games.
Yeah, this is by far. I've been talking about hard execution. This is definitely like the hardest dungeon in terms of execution.
So we should be quiet to give you time to think about and focus, and for no other reason. Okay, got it.
Yeah, no other reason at all.
So hail sucks. We have time for more donations.
I got a couple more here. I got a $20 anonymous donation with no comment, and I've got a $5 donation from Noddle that says, "Let's get this," and that went towards the Kecleon incentive as well. We're
My receipt count looking kind of low.
We're getting close. We just need another $85.
You can do
Very
it.
close. Yeah, I believe. Oh, you should donate and tell us what your favorite song from the entire Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series is, because everybody has a different answer.
Yeah, it's actually
Like,
staggering.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon as a series has something to tickle everybody's fancy. And, everyone likes a different song the most. My personal favorite is in Gates to Infinity, or one of my favorites, the dungeon Hole Hills. The hills that have those holes.
The hills do have holes.
It has an unacceptably really good song for how unimportant the area is, and it definitely gets underlooked when in the rank downs of best songs in the series.
We're almost there. We have 25 floors to get through. We're almost there. And of course, we have the peak after that.
GK, what's your favorite song from PMB?
I mean, probably Sky Tower, and then be a basic Ghost. Say, don't you forget from Explorers, and then Amp Plans. Amp Plans
goes really hard.
Amp Plans from Super specifically. The
That
arrangement
remix is so good.
It's so good.
Wait, what? Okay, whatever. He'll take a seed. Oh, I know what happened. Wait, no, don't know what happened. What?
Put the warp scarf on him?
No. I have enough seeds. I'll be fine. What is this? Oh. Oh yeah. I actually have no clue what happened there.
Did you pick up anything?
No.
Did you level up?
Oh, not at all. That's a very interesting quirk.
Now we only have like a page and a half of driver's seats. How are we gonna survive these next 9 floors?
Yeah. I'm actually gonna safety save right here.
The first floor of Sky Tower Summit is terrifying.
Yeah. Another good one for dungeon themes. Temporal Tower.
Temporal Tower.
The first version. I know some people are partial to the second. I prefer the first.
Oh, the second phase of the final boss of Super Mystery Dungeon is also one of my favorite songs. Also, while Noob's trying to not die, we have time for more donations.
Yeah, I don't have any favorite song donations just yet, but I'm sure they're going to show up soon. I do have a $15 donation from Kiosk that says, "The nice host," oh, thank you, says to donate. I donate. Anyway, Kiosk was here. Glad to see we're finally back at it at RPG Limit Break. Best of luck to runners and staff. Let's show off some wonderful runs and love this year.
Sure. Yeah, this peak is very notorious because of its layouts. It has 2 very specific layouts. The one that you just saw, we like to call like the side layout. It's basically just like going left to right.
100% linear.
100% linear, which you know how much I love.
And then
linear.
there's this garbage. There's all corridors in the middle and rooms on the outside. Without manipulation, this is a nightmare. Because all you're doing is just walking through hallways, checking your room, going back to the hallways, checking the other room, and like you're just kind of spider webbing out. It's just really bad.
Yeah, the final boss is going to be on floor 9.
So we're really running out of time to get those donations in.
To go triple warp into the stairs, just as it intended.
I think a lot of casual players don't realize that you can actually interact with the ground.
Yeah, like you can go into the menu and go hit the ground button.
Yeah, without having to step off and step back on.
Oh, I know where this is.
Not punished.
Definitely not punished. Yeah, this is the final battle, so time will be on when
Let's fade out after the boss.
Fade out after this boss.
So while the boss is spawning, we have time for like a donation, a quick donation.
I unfortunately don't have any new donations, but this is the final boss. This is the time. If you've been waiting to donate, let's get him in right now for those post-game incentives.
Rayquaza's theme is also really good too.
Yeah. Too bad we'll only hear maybe about like 3 measures of this. But yeah, this is the setup, and we should be able to just frustration our way to victory. That, my friend,
That's it.
has been Pokemon Mystery
Not quite
Dungeon
time yet.
Rescue Team. Yeah, we have to wait for the fade out.
And time.
Time. Alright. And then we did race timing, which is on Rayquaza death. But there's also like the 4 minutes before the actual credits.
We've had a couple hours now. What is a Starquake Ghost?
We were talking
They're
about.
asking us to do sound
we were
check,
talking
and we're
about
supposed to have a
nonsense.
conversation. And then the Ghost Kid was like, "Do you ever think it's weird? There's an earthquake up here." And I'm like, "Why are you doing this to me?"
And I mean, there is such a thing as a Starquake, apparently.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I guess, do we have any particular shout-outs that we want to do?
Shoutouts to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon community. If you go to the leaderboard for any Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game on speedrun.com, you should be able to see a little Discord icon, and that will give you an invite to the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon speedrunning server. We have a lot of resources, a lot of people willing to help, a lot of nerds that know the game inside and out, more than I ever could dream of knowing.
We also have a casual section for people who maybe want to have some assistance doing X, Y, or Z, or want to
want some help from the pros to do their casual things.
or like want to talk about just Mystery Dungeon as a whole. We try to be as inclusive as possible in terms of how many people we allow into our community.
The server has over 1,000 members at this point, and it's still growing every day.
No, it's really not hard to pick up and run these games. Like I'd barely done much work, and I did a run kind of as a special thing many years ago of Explorers of the Sky, and that was probably one of the most fun streams I've done.
Yeah, it's these games. I can't advocate for these games enough. They don't kill your hands. You only have to hold one button for your mashing, your optimal mashing. They're very dynamic. You can rather choose a very execution heavy, practice heavy game, or you can go into it and just play by feels. And there's really, a run for everybody.
Speaking of feels,
so this is the infamous sad goodbye scene of the end of these games.
Yeah.
so we have to leave, and we didn't really tell anybody. And that's going to become an immediate problem.
Yeah. Big shout outs to, everyone who contributed into helping, go through
Helping the name be
manipulated routes.
Bidoof, those are the MVPs of today.
Big shout outs to everyone who, helped contribute to the routes. When manipulation was founded or when we found out manipulation could happen pretty consistently in 2015, 2016, there was a lot of people who came together to kind of brute force, try to figure out how everything worked. There's way too many names to go through it all.
Yeah, just the people I can think of off the top of my head, Worcester developed the initial route, was the first one to see that was a thing and hit the ground running. And I think he was doing a stream the next day on this game.
Yeah. And there's people that
Chansey
dissected
NES
code.
also.
NES.
Staldy, like we said earlier, you did a lot of work from this game when it started. I helped a little bit sometimes.
And then the pioneers who really helped lift this out in COVID times, like Shady Gamer X and Secure Account, who we've mentioned
Shadow
before,
Phoenix DX.
and Shadow Phoenix DX as well.
And whom is DS?
How did we forget to
The
talk about
first
him
person to ever beat this game in under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All amazing people, all PMD streamers that stream in some capacity. I would not be sitting up here if it wasn't for these guys. I remember my first ever stream. I did this game. It was the non-manipulated route, and
He didn't have his chat open.
I didn't have my chat open. I was, one monitor Andy, going through it, and I remember finishing the run and turning over my chat, and this guy Halpery sitting in here with maybe 8 other people, just
I call it in the whole Skype group.
Yeah.
We all showed up. One of us.
So these games and this community really holds a super special place in my heart, and I definitely wouldn't, be the speedrunner I was today without them. So,
So did we meet the Recruit Kekleon incentive?
So we've been talking over here. We're a little short on the Recruit Kekleon incentive, but we have a lot of money towards the Purity Forest. We want to let you do Recruit Kekleon for sure, and we'll see what happens while that is getting done. If maybe there's a way we can still push for that Purity Forest exhibition as well. But let's do the Recruit Kekleon incentive.
Sounds like a deal.
And probably just
With all the tracker issues that have been going on, we do greatly appreciate all the donations that have been coming in for everything. It's all going.
Yeah, every little bit helps. Trust me, it all adds up.
I do have a couple.
You may think your $1 doesn't help much, but 1,000 other people may donate $1, and that's $1,000. That, it definitely all adds up.
I do have a couple of donations to read if that's a good time
Go
for it. Yep. I've got a $25 donation from one Mr. Shasta. It says a bunch of people I like on stream playing a really good video game with a cool wolf.
Hi,
Hosting
Shasta.
too. I need to see more. Let's get those incentives met. Also, Sky Tower is my favorite song. Thank you for being quiet to listen to it and no other reason. And I've got a $50 donation from Cult that says a little more toward the exhibition if we can make it. And we've got a $60 donation from MS Kane that just says, "You're welcome."
Thank you. There, we got it.
So yeah,
And this is the official speedrun end.
This would be the official speedrun.
Where we normally start on new game, and then it ends right here.
But yeah, I wanted to let this play out to this point.
Yeah, because you guys have been watching the story. The text has been slow enough. You might have been able to keep up. We didn't want to leave you in suspense for what happens. That's the end of the main story.
You did that in the Blitz run, and I half wanted to like reach into my computer and yell at our restreamer, like, let him play the ending.
At this point, I'm going to transition to getting Kecleon ready. Actually, I'm going to have to load in a different profile, just to get a 100% file into here.
Oh no, the layout.
Oh no.
It's so weird.
Even though it does say NDS, I have been playing on Wii U VC because these did get swapped over to...
Yeah, and Nintendo DS emulation on the Wii U is very bad, but bad in a really fast way.
Yeah, it cuts a lot of loads.
Yeah, it cuts loads. That's all it is. It's like 3 minutes over the course of a 3-hour run, so it's like about an hour a minute saving for loads. So basically,
they have the exact same point.
Yeah. So there's very specific things you need to have met in order for this manipulation to work. You need to have a level 90 Articuno with the friend bow. What we're gonna do when we do recruit Kecleon is we're gonna go recruit the shopkeeper. You've seen Kecleon over here running this shop this entire run.
Yeah.
And we actually haven't.
Which one?
It's actually the non-shiny one, the last one. But the things we actually didn't get to see in the actual run is that they actually set up shop inside the actual dungeon. And, they hinted, you can buy from them and you can actually, say, I don't really want to pay. And then they, go bananas on you. So you can do this at home. This is super simple. This is literally one floor. We mentioned Mistaldi before. He was the one who, spent the time, I think it was almost 2 years of time, just checking things out, checking, different quick saves in different areas and how to rearrange your thing to hit Kecleon. Because the thing about Kecleon is it starts at a base of negative 35%.
So you literally can't recruit this without a friend bow.
Yeah, and at level 90, you have the highest addition modifier to your recruitment.
Yeah. So at level 90 with the friend bow equipped, you're at the highest amount of recruitment possibility.
Which for Kecleon ends up adding up to 0.4% in this one.
It's still incredibly low. But this will become very, very trivial. Let me actually grab a skateboard if I have one so I can show the full process here.
Yeah, as you can see, you can switch off of your protagonist in post-game. I know we saw him fade into the sky, but he does decide he or she does decide that they want to come back.
They decide, no, I'm good. I'll go back down. Really, after all that, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's go back.
There's a lot of great scenes in the post-game, too. I really like Gengar's, redemption arc in the post-game, too. He gets some of that in the story, but especially in the ending.
The Japanese community have added that as their post-game category. They call that the true ending.
Yeah, just completing that side quest. But yeah, what I'm going to do is I just want to show, if you're at home and you want to do this, I'm going to just kind of show you all the setup that's needed for you to do this. Articuno, level 90 friend bow, and then also link Mind Reader and Sheer Cold together. You can do this through Gulpin very easily. And what you want to do is you actually need to go to a dungeon called Remains Island. This is a special dungeon that's locked behind a Wondermount code. It was given out by Nintendo at some point for DLC content.
You can look it up.
Technical DLC content. But you go to Remains Island, and I'll quick save on floor 1, and I'll show you the whole process.
That's scary.
That's a scary start for it. But,
oh, never mind.
That
was an A attack, by the way.
That was the weakest A attack you can have, or the weakest move you can have is A attack. Yeah, the cool thing about this place is that there's actually a Kecleon shop on floor 2, which will give us the quickest way of doing it. I just have to find
we're spending longer on floor 1 than we are going to spend time doing it.
I think this file you have the top screen showing the dungeon layout instead of the overlay.
Yeah, people have preferences, and when I was doing my 100% file, this was just the preference that I had for this. So, I'm quick saving on floor 1, and I'm going to go into floor 2, and if you blink, you'll miss it. So this is all you need to do to get Kecleon. Go pick up this orb,
Make sure you're doing this movement exactly, by the way.
And go out and you refuse Kecleon's service. Nope, I'm not going to pay that. And then you're just going to Mind Reader Shield Golden. And that's how you get 0.4% Kecleon.
This took some poor gamers hundreds of hours, and we did it in like 2 minutes.
And then if you just go down, you can go through the stairs, and then and only then you can escape the dungeon. And if you saw Kecleon's level 90, if it'll give you any sort of indicator of how strong that guy is.
Yeah. He's also, if I remember right, a lot weaker when he joins your party than he is when he's not in your party.
Yeah.
Shoutouts to Mystology for finding that setup. You know, people have been trying to solve Kecleon for years. And, you know, I think this is as good as it's going to get.
Yeah. And with that, I believe that is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue
Look at
Rescue.
its stats. Look at its stats.
It's okay.
Lord. What a unit.
Yeah, I've been Likeanoob. Thank you for your time. I hope you guys have enjoyed it.
Do we have any more donations?
Yeah, do we have any more
Do we
donations?
magically get like a...
We do have a couple donations, but I don't think we're going to get
okay.
The Purity Forest, unfortunately.
That's fine.
But definitely check it out on your own time. I watched it. It's a really, really neat showcase for sure. So, yep, we've got $20 from Shooky with no comment. We have $60 from Boss K that says Kecleon for Shasta. And we have $50 from Nazarian with no comment. So thank you for all of those.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah.
For having it.
Yep, thank you for having us.
I'll be back in 2 runs for Dream Team commentary, so.
I won't...
You go to bed.
Yeah.
All right, thanks all.
Thank you guys.
All right, everybody here at RPG Limit Break, let's give it up one more time for Likeanoob and that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon run. That was a lot of fun. Coming up next, we are going to have a game that is very seasonal right now. It is a fantastic RPG speedrun. It is Kudelka, any percent. It's going to be run by Reverb. You definitely need to stick around for that. It is a spooky RPG. We don't get a lot of spooky RPGs, and this is one of the best. So you'll definitely want to stick around for that. I'm going to be leaving now. My hosting time is up for tonight, but I will be back later in the week as well. Joining you for Kudelka will be Zenadir, and please give them lots of awesome donations to read, and let's keep those donations coming in for Nami. It's day one of an amazing week, everybody. Thank you so much for being a part of it with me today. And we're going to throw it to a quick Twitch ad, and we'll see y'all after that.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to RPG Limit Break 2022, supporting Nami and powered by Twitch. My name is Zenadir, but you can call me Zen, and I will be your host for the upcoming Kudelka Any Percent run, coming after a bit of setup. Can you all believe that we are back in person? That's right, we are coming to you from Salt Lake City, Utah, in proud support of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, aka NAMI. To get involved in the fight against mental illness and the stigmas it can bring, reach out to NAMI via their state organizations or on Facebook, where they can be found as NAMI, simply NAMI, on Instagram and Twitter as @Nami Communicate. It's not a weakness to need help. Please reach out if you think you need some. I'd like to direct your attention towards a couple of our upcoming incentives. Firstly, you, our friends in the audience live or on Twitch, can choose the hero name for the Shining Force CD run coming up after Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Gonna refresh my page here to make sure I have the most accurate totals. At current, there are two names that have been put in. First is Bowie, which has $75, and the second is Sherlock, which currently has $25. And then I have to be sure I'm reading this correctly. It took me a few times. For SteamWorld Quest Hand of Gilgamesh, which is after Shining Force CD, you can unlock a fight with the secret enemy, Duck Truck. Yes, Duck Truck. That incentive is a goal of $500, and we're currently at 80 with plenty of time to get there. If I'm doing my math right, we got roughly, 2 hours, 5 hours, 40 minutes, about 9 hours there. Plenty of time to get to that required 500. So, as a friendly reminder, when you're on the donation page, be sure to click the Add Incentives option at the bottom, just above the button to finalize your donation, and it'll let you see everything we have open. And that everything, I'm scrolling it currently. It goes all the way to Pokemon Sword and Shield. You could name our Drillbird. Did you know that? But let's not go that far yet. We've got plenty of RPG Limit Break before Sword and Shield. We also have a few fantastic prizes that you can be entered to win automatically simply by meeting the minimum donation amount at current, and these are open until the end of Mario and Luigi Dream Team. We have the Pokemon Evolution plushes, which was contributed by Wells JC, and that only requires a $20 minimum donation. Of the 3 prizes we currently have active, that $20 minimum donation would enter you for all 3 of them, just so you're all aware there. I personally love the Evolutions. I am a big fan of Umbreon, and then Leafeon is a close second, so my $20 donation that'll be coming in during Kudelka is going straight for that one. Next up, we have a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Metallic Print provided by Chew. That's only a $15 minimum donation. And lastly, we have the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX copy. It's like an actual game provided by T Murdoch. Thank you so much for that. And that's only a $10 minimum donation. And like I said, these are open until the end of Mario and Luigi Dream Team. So you got a bit of time there, and only $20 enters you to win all 3 of those. It's so great. $20 gets you in for 3 fantastic prizes and helps an amazing cause like that. We all win when you donate. You may have noticed talk about incentives and prizes like I just did. This means that you get to vote with your wallet to name characters, get our runners to complete difficult or ridiculous tasks, which is always my personal favorite, or help pick which story you get to see in certain games. You know, the classic save or kill the animals. You can also become eligible to win prizes donated by community members, and all donations, that's right, all donations do go to NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. For more information, check the channel bio for a link to the 2022 tracker. And while you're at it, if you go directly to the RPG Limit Break site, I'm going to do it with you right now, follow along team. Right at the top there, you can go to the tracker, and that lets you view our prizes, the bid wars, etc., etc. You can follow along with everything that I'm here to happily remind you of for my time on the host desk. RPG Limit Break is proud to once again partner with the Yeti. That's right, the Yeti, to bring you 8 amazing t-shirts and a hoodie, my personal favorite, now available, plus pins. Head over to the Yeti.com, that's YETEE.com/RPGLB to take designs, pick up the one you want, and know that $4 from every t-shirt purchase will be donated to Nami. Remember, Yeti is spelled YETEE. Go to the Yeti.com/RPGLB to check out that collection. RPG Limit Break is grateful to LLK, a longtime contributor to GDQ Marathons and the designer of our promo banners, attendee badges, and emotes. That's a lot of work. You can check out her work at jazzaboo.com.